The 93X Half-Ass Morning Show podcast is sponsored by Standard Heating and Air Conditioning.
Standard Heating is having their 94-year celebration. They have special offers just for you this February. Whether you need a new furnace or a tune-up, they have something special for everyone. Visit standardheating.com to save today.
The 93X Half-Ass Morning Show. 93.
An asteroid just missed the Earth. Can you believe that? Experts say it was the biggest rock to have no impact since Kim Kardashian's wedding ring.
This is Frank Down, my own TV station, live in Sydney, Nova Scotia. The asteroid 2024 BP1 headed towards the Earth on Friday, February 2nd, 2024. It's going to miss the Earth by 2.1 billion miles. Make sure your telescopes and binoculars ready if it's a clear sky. Make sure to be prepared. It may trigger earthquakes somewhere in the world. Even the asteroid bypasses the Earth, that can trigger a lot of earthquakes because of gravitational pull and things like this. Be prepared. Be safe.
The Bible calls this day Armageddon, the end of all things. And yet, for the first time in the history of the planet, a species has the technology to prevent its own extinction.
NASA, have you heard about this? They're having a contest to let kids come up with the name for a newly discovered asteroid near the Earth. And Earth's greatest astronomers are now studying asteroid Butt Muncher Bieber Fart.
It's showtime! Music has been taken out of this portion of the Half-Ass Morning Show podcast for licensing reasons.
That's how you started off. With the sappiest, dopiest Aerosmith song ever created.
You know, this was the one song at our wedding, or not ours, you and I haven't been married yet. It is legal if we ever want to do it.
I'm in.
At my wife and our wedding, the DJ just played that song, and that was our first dance. First and only dance.
Oh, that's
Have
sweet.
not danced since January 20th, 2008.
Wow. So it wasn't your choice. The DJ just pounced on that one?
Yeah, he said, all right, here's the couple for the first dance. And I laughed because I'm like, oh, Nick's going to love this. I know how much you hate that song and movie it's associated with.
Yeah, stupid Armageddon, awful movie. It was on one of my cable channels the other night. I vividly remember your wedding reception, and by damn, I remember seeing you and the wife swaying back and forth out there on the dance floor. We were laughing our nuts off. Anyone who knows Josh, we were laughing our nuts off because we know the guy has no interest in dancing. Although you are excellent at it.
I've heard that before.
You're an excellent dancer, but we could all tell you were not interested in this wedding dance.
Is that the longest 3 minutes or whatever of your life?
Well, you know, it's funny. He didn't even play the full song.
Oh, he did?
No,
Nice.
he
Okay.
just played, a minute and a half of it, and that was it. So I was off the hook.
Oh, nice.
But
Good for you.
I still get crap because at a buddy's wedding, when my wife and I were just dating, we got up to do a slow dance. I thought I can handle a slow dance. I've done that in 6th and 7th grade.
Yeah.
And so I swayed left, I swayed right, and I pulled a butt muscle, and I was out for like a week. And I get a ton of crap for that. And I was in my 30s at the time.
Right.
No, maybe even late 20s.
You had a glute giveaway.
Yeah, it died on me. Right there on the dance floor.
Ain't that something? Well, we got a couple more of these programs to push out before the week is through, and it starts now, I guess. Welcome to the 93X Half-Ass Morning Show. Tell me more about this asteroid. I heard nothing about this. There was an asteroid headed for planet Earth. We nearly died.
I think it already passed. I don't know. I was trying to figure out exactly what he was talking about.
Like a damn kidney stone.
Yeah, because I know we had to get our what did he say? Binoculars.
Make sure your telescopes and binoculars.
Binoculars.
I have 2 pair of binoculars,
Do you
actually.
really?
Yeah, I got one at the house, for when the neighbors might be.
Oh, yeah, I know what you're saying.
And I keep a pair of binoculars on my boat, just in case the college girls in the boat that go by the big island.
I had one pair. I had a pair of binoculars, and that's when I realized I needed to move because we lived across from a park, and when the kids were young, it was great. I'm like, oh, yeah, what a beautiful park, and there's they call it a lake. It was more of a puddle. I don't know why they called it a lake, and you can there. But so we lived from this park, and that was such a big park. Our house was complete garbage, right? It was terrible, but it was next to a park. That was the draw. And so I learned that living across the street from a park, which we ended up calling Penis Park because it was vandalized so much, and one time with some really impressive penis.
Spray painted penises.
I mean, we would find beer cans, drug paraphernalia. The cops were telling us, oh yeah, that's a hookup spot for prostitution. There's all this stuff going on. And so I bought these binoculars. I was looking out at nighttime all the time. I was staring out there to try and figure out what was going on. If there was a strange car pulling up, I was damn near writing down the license plate number.
Jesus.
That'd be kind of fun.
Oh no, it wasn't fun, Ashley. I was going insane.
You became the neighborhood watchman.
Yeah, I was that neighborhood guy, right? And we had a retired CIA operative that lived in the neighborhood, old guy.
Yeah, right.
And he knew it. You know, I never thought of that. Oh, no.
Jesus, come on, you bought that?
I did. This is like a movie where at the very end, the memories are coming back, all the signs I missed. God dang it.
Some old timer told you he was a retired CIA operative and you bought it.
Hook, line, and sinker.
Jesus, the guy stocked shelves at the grocery store his whole life, I bet.
I feel like I got to take a break and call my wife and say, what have we done? Yeah, I fell for it because he knew all the gossip in the neighborhood. It got so bad that the cops put up trail cameras in my yard to catch what was going on across the street.
Yeah.
And so I became this old-time freak, like just an old guy basically staring out the window all the time.
Did you ever see anything?
Oh, yeah, plenty.
Where you called the cops?
I called about half the times I wanted to.
Holy cow.
Wow.
And
jeez.
Yeah, it got nuts.
So then did you become that guy in Egan who the police were tired of hearing from?
Probably.
Blocked your number. 911 blocked you.
I did joke that, like, especially on our block, we were the, I forgot exactly how I used to phrase it, but it was like the most prolific property crime victims in Dakota County because there was so much stuff that would happen. So much stuff would get destroyed, spray painted. It sucked.
Why are you guys so defensive of Egan after I hear a story like this?
Well, I love Egan. Keep in mind, I grew up in Minneapolis. So, I mean, I've experienced stuff like this before.
So there you were, night in, night out with your binoculars.
Yeah.
Searching for crime.
Mm-hmm. any car I would hear late at night, I'd be up. I'd be looking out the window. I'd have 911 dialed.
And you'd call the cops and say, well, we got a couple of teenagers. They're kind of hanging around. Well, a car went by.
Yeah, I'd hear this, 911, what's up, Josh? And I'd be like, hey, Frank, yeah, I got another one for you. That's pretty much how it was.
Admittedly, you went kind of crazy.
I did. I didn't like myself at all. I mean, I've never liked myself, but at that time, I really didn't. And so I said, we got to move.
He's never liked himself.
No.
You considered
I just joined the crowd on
just because of the kind of random derelict traffic.
And we did. And, but, so...
You moved to a different part of Egan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm not going to live next to a walking trail, a park, nothing, because I can't handle it. I can't handle the pressure. I know a lot of people like it. So, and again, that's what drew us to this house. And there's nothing keeping us to the house because it was garbage. So, eventually, when we go to sell it, thank you, Lindahl. He made us a killing. I said, in the little description, we're like, beautiful park setting,
Oh, of course.
Family's so sad to leave it, but the kids are grown,
You're taking photos of the house and you make sure you have the park in the background.
Oh, absolutely.
Yep. Uh-huh.
Yeah,
beautiful park. It's always peaceful.
They Photoshop out all their graffiti and stuff like that. It's so nice. We're like, what a charming area.
You would have got me. I would have definitely scrolled past that house and been like, I bet that's a nice neighborhood. They even have a park right there.
That was something else.
Syringe right there.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh.
No. The chalk outline, we're just using a pressure power washer to get rid of that.
Yeah. I've certainly heard the stories of this park over the years, Penis Park. I don't think you'd ever explained that you lost your mind there for a brief period of time and became that paranoid neighbor who was constantly on the phone with the police.
Well, I'm embarrassed by it.
Well, I understand, but I understand why you'd be embarrassed by that, but everybody goes a little crazy sometimes.
Was that did you go crazy after they penised your truck?
No, that didn't bother me. Oh. We had break-ins and to the point where in the commune.
But again, yay Egan.
Well, no, I'm going back to Minneapolis.
Oh,
and our house was broken into in Egan.
That's what I thought you were referencing.
Same with cars.
Right.
I've told this story before. I'm getting ahead of myself, but to stay in Egan, one of the places we lived in, for Christmas, some coworkers got me an iPod. back in the day. And I didn't...
Can you refresh my memory as to what that is?
Yeah, so I didn't find the appeal at the time. I didn't realize how genius it was because I had a bunch of tapes and CDs already, but like a music player.
Oh, sure.
So an MP3 player.
I was gifted one of those too when they were hot.
Yeah, that's what it was.
I think within a month I gave it to a kid because I couldn't figure out how to finger it properly. But anyway, so you were gifted an iPod by somebody?
Yeah, by some coworkers here for my birthday.
Oh, okay.
And I don't know if you still can do, iPods aren't a thing anymore, but I don't know if you still can do this with phones or whatever, but you could buy skins for it, right? Designs and things like that. And so I bought this, this is pre-Game of Thrones. I bought this wicked dragon-themed skin. And I liked it.
You bought a what?
A skin for the iPod.
Oh, right.
It's like a phone cover.
No.
Yeah.
I remember the dragon story.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I had that, and I do like dragons. If you want to text in, I love dragons.
Dragon skin for your iPod to make it look cool.
You personalize it, right?
Personally, you look like right.
And I thought it was sweet. And so the cops come out, and they had hit the whole neighborhood, right? These guys, whoever they were, they hit the whole neighborhood, and he's like, "All right, was there any identifying marks on it? Because you can get engraved.
Yep.
When you buy an Apple product, you can get it engraved." And I said, "Nah." He's like, "Nothing at all? Did you have a case on it?" I'm like, "Nah, it's just a regular iPod with an impressive 80s rock collection on it. That's about it."
You're too embarrassed to tell them about the dragon
I couldn't.
case.
So maybe they found it. Like, "Wow, this isn't that guy's because there's a nerdy dragon skin on it."
And that guy's cool. He wouldn't have dragons on his iPod.
But back to growing up in Minneapolis, our cars and bikes our bikes were stolen so much. I promised I'd never get another bike. It just was ridiculous.
Unless it's electric, of course.
Maybe someday.
Right.
Yeah. That's basically a Harley.
Right.
So
It is a Harley.
And so it is? I thought it was basically
Right, go ahead.
So my uncle who lived with us at the time, he had finally just wrote a note, "Don't break my effing windows." He got so tired of buying windows on the vehicle. I left it open, and there's nothing in here. Go ahead and go through it, but don't break the windows on my vehicle. He got tired of spending all that money on it.
That's constant break-ins.
Yeah, it was out of control. And, at the time, and I don't know if it's any different, like you'd call and they'd be like, yeah. What are you going to do? They're not going to send anybody else.
No.
But at Egan, they came out and they put some spray in my car, like for DNA. They dusted for fingerprints for an iPod.
No way.
They went for it. Yeah.
Really?
Serious CSI stuff happening in Egan.
Yeah, it was like a VIP experience. They really take it seriously.
I'll be damned. Yeah? That's good stuff.
Oh, no.
What happened? Dragons?
Yeah,
dragon.
I didn't see this coming.
You know how this started? I was asking about the asteroid, and now I forgot what my answer was. Or what right? I asked you about the asteroid.
Yeah, we were talking about binoculars or...
Oh, right.
That's how that all came.
We went
Make sure
on.
every telescope's and binoculars.
Binoculars.
Then we went the other direction and started talking about neighborhood crime. But tell me more about this asteroid. So it was a close call. We were about turned into dust.
Frankie McDonald, my weatherman.
Yes.
Out of Nova Scotia there. He mentioned it was coming this Friday or tomorrow, right? And I would have played this tomorrow, but tomorrow's Groundhog Day. Tomorrow's Groundhog Day.
Oh.
Tomorrow's Groundhog Day. So I was going to play it, tomorrow, but I played it today.
Tomorrow is a special event, right?
So I Googled it quickly because I forgot to check the progress of this thing, and it looks like it might have already showed up.
So nobody saw it go by?
No, I missed it.
It was, if I have the right story, again, it was a quick Google, so maybe I'm completely wrong. It looked like it might have shown up and gone over Germany
That's
somewhere.
really interesting.
Yeah, it looks like some people found a chunk of it.
No, they didn't. Just like Josh's neighbor was never a CIA operative. Nobody found
that's
it.
concerning me now.
No, he was making that up, Josh. And no one found a chunk of the asteroid, Wapple. They're just trying to get some sucker to give him $1 million for it. Never happened. It never happened. Unbelievable stuff this morning. I'll tell you what, here's the truth. These days, if there really was an asteroid headed in our direction, I think I'd just lean right into it.
Yeah.
Have you seen those bumper stickers?
Lean right into it. That's how Mr. Big, speaking of...
lean into it.
Go ahead. What about the bumper stickers?
The bumper stickers that, they'll say an election year and it'll say asteroid and then fill in election year. Like they're not happy with the two people you get to choose from.
Oh, sure.
So they're saying, go ahead with this asteroid.
Let it,
bring it.
Let her buck. Let it hit us right upside the head. If you look it up, I believe I'm correct about this. If you don't mind, Josh and I are going to again get excited for this Mr. Big show coming to town.
Yeah, text us 651-989-9393. Are you going? Let's share a cerveza together.
Oh,
if you're going to be at the Mr. Big show.
I wonder how many of our listeners might be signed up to go see Mr. Big.
I'm going to guess 0, but if somebody is, that'd be great.
Their big hit record, Lean Into It, from 1991. I believe they hung the title Lean Into It on the record because it was either a conversation the band had or a conversation the band overheard or maybe a historical comment that the band enjoyed. It was something about if an asteroid was coming to Earth or some kind of other catastrophic type situation, what would you do? And the answer was lean into it. So you can look that up. I think I'm correct about that.
Yeah, you probably are.
And on the night we go see them in a couple weeks, they're going to perform that album in its entirety.
Are they really?
You weren't aware of that?
No.
Yeah.
They're going to play from other albums, too. They don't have to go anything past that.
Not much. You didn't know that?
No.
They're playing Lean Into It?
They're going to play stuff from their debut album, right?
Want me to give it away?
Yeah.
This is so far what I know about the set list they've been dumping on folks so far. They're going to start off with
Daddy, Brother, Lover, Little Boy.
Well, they're going to play that event. See,
they're not going to start with that.
No. They're starting off with Addicted to That Rush.
Okay.
Then they're going to play.
Those were the two I was going
They're going to play a couple from the mid-'90s, early 2000s. And then they begin Lean Into It. They finish it up. And then a couple of sumbitches at the end, like, say, 30 Days in the Hole or something along, just to have some fun.
I'd be okay if they didn't do that one, but
you're not a big fan of that?
It's okay. I mean, I'd rather have them do some other stuff.
I thought you knew.
No.
Thought you knew. You're too busy fighting crime.
I am.
In the neighborhood.
I bet they won't play the song Shine. They're not going to play that one. Even if you're not a Mr. Big fan, I recommend you look up the Mr. Big song Shine and watch the video. Famously, their bass player, Billy Sheehan, hated that whole record, was not happy with the direction of the band. If you watch the video, he's miserable. The times they show him.
He had to show how angry he was? He couldn't put on a good face?
No, he couldn't. I mean, I'm sure it's a long filming day. I'm sure the process is tedious. But yeah, for the video, he could not show that he's just going to play along.
I don't believe they tap into that one. But
I'm sure they're not.
Take Cover.
Oh, I love that song.
Is one of the non-Lean Into It, non-first album. So there you go. I mean,
obviously, I wish we would have seen him with Pat Torpey, their drummer that passed away. But
yeah.
But even so, I mean, Paul Gilbert is my all-time favorite guitar player. And he's such a goofy dude, and he is looking more and more like a mad scientist. So I can't wait to see him.
Yeah. He does look like the neighborhood kind of awkward college professor type of a guy. Well, here's the deal. Couldn't be happier to be here and to be rolling here on a Thursday. It is 5:58 in the godforsaken AM on February 1st, and it's 33 degrees. Life is good. Mm-hmm. Life is pretty damn sweet right now.
I think I saw it set a record yesterday for heat.
I know
55 maybe, something like that.
I couldn't tell you. I know it was close. I didn't get a chance to watch much for meteorological coverage yesterday.
And I didn't go outside and enjoy it at all. I felt so bad at
who did?
5 when the sun was starting to set.
I walked up to the mailbox. Does that count?
It's like, it was really nice out today. I probably should have went and sat on the deck or something and get some vitamin C, vitamin D, whatever it is.
Yeah, there you go.
I figured it was vitamin D, but I was like, if I say that, there's going to be tax.
You love your D.
Yeah.
Pretty damn sweet. February 1st. At 6 o'clock in the morning, and it's 33 degrees. I don't want to hear about you're missing out on riding your snowmobile. I don't want to hear about how you're not able to go ice fishing. Here's where I go with this. A good amount of our listeners work outside in the winter, and I imagine they're saying you can take the keys to your snowmobile and your ice fishing rod, you can shine them up real nice, turn those sumbitches sideways and shove them right up your bottom. These individuals finally get a winter that's livable.
I've seen so many motorcycles the last few days. I'm sure those guys are pumped.
Oh, yeah.
I used to ride, and I remember that. If there was an unexpected warm day when there shouldn't be, that's the day you wanted to get out. Although you typically run the risk of, wiping out on some salt or something like that. But Maybe it's been a while, right? Or well, I just saw it snowing right now.
Oh, a little bit?
Yeah, a little bit.
Where?
I got an alert on my camera at home saying there's something going on, and there's like a bunch of snow coming down. Either that or my house is on fire and it's ash.
Oh!
It looks like it stopped at this point.
I feel so good for the folks who work outdoors this time of year that they finally get a stinking break. Now, of course, you never know what's going to happen. A couple weeks from now, it'll be 66 below zero. But I'm just saying, at least, and I know a good amount of our listeners are truckers or drivers, and they finally get a winter where they don't got to be dry humping glare ice roads between here and Minot, North Dakota, day after day, or wherever the hell you're going. That's what I'm pumped for those people.
A few people who work in factories are saying it's a bit warm in there.
Oh,
yeah.
They wouldn't mind. They wouldn't mind. But, that fog was something else this morning.
Oh, that was insane.
I wasn't sure if that was fog because, there was no fog until I got, down over by work here. And I was like, is something on fire?
There's quite a difference.
I guess I've never seen what it looks like if something's on fire. So, all that, thick smoke if a building went up.
For me, it was bad until I got into St. Paul.
Yeah,
They couldn't afford the taxes.
Yeah, it was right around there.
That was really bad, man.
so there you go. Oh, wow. Be listening this morning. We got some more chances to get into that Rob Zombie, Alice Cooper show coming up in August at the XL Energy Center.
Speaking of spooky.
Wait just a minute.
What?
There's a little extra something connected to these tickets. Did you see this, Josh?
Yeah.
Should I tell folks about this?
I think people would want to know.
They should know about this. Not only,
you'd be the perfect guy to talk about this.
Wouldn't I?
I've heard you talk about it.
Yeah, it all looks so familiar to me now. A little bit later on, we'll get to some Rob Zombie, Alice Cooper tickets. You'll have a chance at that, plus a gold-tipped rose that will last forever from Arthur's Jewelers. Oh, I see where they're going with this. You take your lady to a rock and roll show, and you also give her something sweet for, Valentine's Day.
Yeah, maybe attach the tickets to it.
Well, I'll be.
Well, not physically. They don't have those anymore. Screenshot your phone.
Yeah, print them out.
Yeah, there you go.
Alice Cooper puts on a fun show.
I've never seen Alice Cooper. I've seen Rob Zombie a few times.
Oh, God.
I'd like to see
Like I
Alice
said,
Cooper.
Alice Cooper puts on a fun show. Seen him a few times, and oh, God.
Hey, well, at festival shows, right? I haven't gone to or was he with Marilyn Manson? I think so.
We're talking about Alice Cooper?
No, I haven't seen Alice Cooper.
Zombie.
Rob Zombie.
Rob Zombie. I'll tell you a funny story from a Rob Zombie. No, I'm doing it too. A funny story from a Alice Cooper show from a few years ago. It just so happened that Alice Cooper was in town a day or two before or after Motley Crue was in town, right? And if you're an old school rocker, you know that Motley Crue, for the love of Christ, just like Kiss, they just been going through the motions for the last number of years. The shows are not that great. They hate each other. It's obvious. A lot of the music and the vocals are piped in. It's just, it's over. Go home already.
Right.
So Alice Cooper, that's not the case with him. He's legit in every way when he plays a show. So we're hanging out at the Alice Cooper show. It was at one of these fancy theaters downtown. I can't think of which one, but it's got those old school balconies like the Muppet guys sat in back in the day on the
I love
Muppet
those.
show.
Same here.
Whatever this theater was with the old school balconies, the crowd that I was with, we noticed that, again, remember Motley Crue was in town the day before or day after this Alice Cooper show. We noticed that Vince Neil, who claims to still be a lead singer, he's up in the balcony, right? He's watching the Alice Cooper show. And somebody in our crowd said, for Christ's sake, I wonder if Alice Cooper's going to invite him on stage to sing a song.
Oh, no.
And we all said, no. We're hollering at each other, just drinking beer at the show. And sure as hell, a little bit later, Alice Cooper says, there's a special friend in the audience. And everyone goes, no, don't do it. But they did it. And it wasn't as bad as we thought it was going to be, but it was just...
Did they keep his mic down a little bit, maybe?
I can't quite remember. All I know is it wasn't nearly as bad as we thought it was going to be. It was just, I wonder if Vince Neil heard us go, no! No, he can't sing!
Since we're on the topic of rock and roll, I was thinking I'm going to start recording some of the I've been getting really odd voicemails lately. Like not your usual car warranties expired, you want a cruise ship type of thing.
Odd voicemail?
Yeah, spam calls. And so watch, I'll jinx, well, maybe not jinx myself. It'll be a blessing if I stop getting them, if I'm going to say I'm going to play them. But I got this really weird one yesterday. I'm wondering if anybody else has got it. There's two versions of it. Dude called me twice, so here's one.
Please call 651-21777. State the code word rock and roll Steve. There's money for that. 651-21777. Roll.
So I say the code word rock and roll Steve. Here's another version.
What did he say?
You're looking for, please call 651-21777. Mention rock and roll Steve. That's the code word for money. Rock and roll.
Oh, I couldn't follow what he said. So he's saying, call this number, say the code word rock and roll Steve, and
I get some money.
You get some money.
So
how much money did you get?
I haven't called yet.
Let's call him up.
I forgot the code. Rock and roll Steve, and they're going to give me money for that.
It's that easy.
And you haven't called him back?
Not yet.
Yeah, that's not sus whatsoever.
You guys, so nobody else got that? That was one of the weirdest ones I've ever got.
That's unique.
The quality makes it sound like he originally made that phone call 27 years ago.
It sounds like he was on speakerphone or something there. Rock and roll Steve.
Rock and Roll Steve is on Facebook.
Is he?
Oh, it's a real dude. I should have looked him up.
Yeah, he's a musician.
From where? Is he a local guy?
I figured he was a cook.
Is he a local guy?
You're sure it's the same Rock and Roll Steve? There could be more than one Rock and Roll Steve.
I mean, it might be different, but yeah, quick search. There is a Rock and Roll Steve.
I want no part of this. Matter of fact, I don't want to say that name again. I'm worried that...
If you say Rock and Roll Steve 3 times in front of the mirror, he'll appear in your bathroom.
Well, even worse than that, to be honest with you. I used to know a guy named Rock and Roll Johnny. Anyway, no, I never received those same phone calls.
Yeah, it was new to me.
Sounds like the kind of guy you might want to start a band up with.
Heck yeah, that's a cool name for a guy.
There you go. All right. We'll get her going. It's Thursday. We got 2 shows to go before we're off the hook. You're a great crowd. Thanks for tuning in. We're going to take a break. We'll be back in a few minutes on the Half-Assed Morning Show.
Half-Assed Morning Show.
They're loud. They lose control. They do their little circus act. They're a nuisance.
93X.
Our experienced and certified technicians at Standard Heating have been trusted to keep our fellow Minnesotans comfortable and confident for over 90 years. We're ready to do the same for you, providing comfort you deserve since 1930.
Standard Heating is having their 94-year celebration. They have special offers just for you this February. Whether you need a new furnace or a tune-up, they have something special for everyone. Visit standardheating.com to save today.
America starts the day with America in the Morning. Hi, I'm John Trout, your host for the latest news, politics, entertainment, business, and weather. Our staff of correspondents provide a fast-paced look at the world with specialized reports from where news happens.
In New York, I'm Sue Aller.
I'm Charles Tilatesma. Sagar Meghani, Washington.
I'm Jennifer King.
I'm Clayton.
I'm Kevin Carr.
I'm Archie Zaraletta.
Concise, accurate, and fresh each day.
America in the Morning, the podcast, available wherever you listen.
Stupid news on the Half-Assed Morning Show.
We're headed in that direction, at least. We're headed in that direction, but not right away. Josh and I are psyched.
Totally psyched.
For Mr. Big. Mr. Big concert coming up in a couple of weeks. We're taking a day off for the show. You should maybe know that now. We are going to take a day off the day after the show. I'm not coming in the day after a Mr. Big concert. You got to be crazy to think that I'd show up at 4 o'clock in the morning the night after a Mr. Big show. Well, before we go any further, why don't you like 30 Days in the Hole? Now that I've thought about it a little bit, I'm kind of aggravated.
Oh, I was just saying, no. I didn't say I don't like it. I'm just thinking of the Mr. Big catalog. They only have a certain amount of time to play. I'd be okay. What I specifically said was I'd be okay if they left one off the set list.
You're right.
I don't need to see that one. When those guys are plugged in, that's when I really enjoy them.
You know what? Maybe this is the problem. Maybe we need to play a little bit of it. Maybe we're not talking about the same song.
30 Days in the Hole?
Maybe we need to play a little bit of it on the radio.
We're definitely talking about the same song.
It's off the first record. It's a live track. It's a cover. It's their cover of the old.
Yeah, but you're misrepresenting what I said. I just meant they could leave it off. I don't need to see that song live of all the songs.
I didn't misrepresent jack squat.
All right?
No, you're right. I did. I was just trying to find a reason to play the song on the radio. Just a little bit of it, at least.
Do you mind grabbing that, Wapple?
I understood.
I don't have the thing over here.
I understood what you said. But you were wondering, are any of our listeners going to the show? Yeah. One listener texted in, and this fella calls himself Blondes Are Just for Practice Jesus. He's going to the show.
Oh, what does he work his way up to? Redheads?
Blondes are for practice.
Girls with dyed hair? What? Oh,
I don't know.
Maybe he likes a woman a little older that's got some gray hair.
Oh, gray
Or
hair.
a woman who maybe went gray at a young age.
We'll find out. We'll ask him at the show. We'll ask him at the show.
Or bald. Or a shaved head. God, there's so many different things.
There are many different options. All right. On to the stupid news now. I'll be damned. What do we got here? Oh, one of those OnlyFans naked on the internet type of gals has caught hell from her kids' school. She's no longer allowed to pick up her kids in the designated school kid pickup area because she's been rolling into the parking lot with a sticker on her car's back window that advertises her OnlyFans account. So she cannot roll that vehicle into the designated school kid pickup area.
Well, who would have thought a religious school would ever, or any school would say something about that? There's no way she could have seen that coming.
Right. She's a 35-year-old lady named Michelle Klein. On that OnlyFans setup, she goes by the absolutely hilariously dumb stage name of Piper Fawn. That's terrible.
That's bad.
Of all the porno-sounding names you could... Anyway.
I'll Piper.
Sounds like it's got something from like a random name generator.
That's awful. She's got, I believe, 2 kids going to the school. And like I was saying, she's been banned from dropping off and picking up her children. Michelle says she's now forced to walk her children across a busy street to get them to class. Some parents want her family expelled from the school, like Josh said. This is a joint called Liberty Christian how do you say this? Preparatory school. I should have just said prep.
Well, it's not the kid's fault.
Huh?
So it's not the kid's fault. They shouldn't have to suffer because of what she does.
It's always the kid's fault. That's why you have kids. Pass the
So
buck.
you can blame
Do
them.
the chores.
Liberty Christian Prep School. So she's dealing with some real holy rollers over there. Michelle made some comments to the local news about her situation. She said, I don't think it's right. People are going to be offended by all sorts of things, different bumper stickers, whatever. But at the end of the day, this is something that supports my family. She went ahead with this online porn gig starting 3 years ago. About a year ago, she pasted her OnlyFans account number on the back of her car, the same car she takes her kids to school with. Parents started noticing and got irritated right away. One kid at the school actually got expelled for looking up Michelle's page on his cell phone on school grounds.
Oops.
1 or 2 of the parents have complained to the school that Michelle is promoting pornography on school grounds, and that violates the school's Christian-based code of conduct.
Sucks that kid got expelled. I know. I went to Catholic school. I know how strict it is. Yeah, I wonder how. Well, it's not that different, I guess, because imagine, Nick, you and I growing up, and there's anything sexual about you. Even if your mom was somewhat attractive, you got hell for it.
Yes.
And my oldest, he played hockey as a kid through high school, and there was one year on his team, it was revealed one of the moms sold sex toys, and they were at middle school age, which I'd imagine that's a lot of hell you're going to get, and you would probably pray your classmates aren't going to find that out.
Yeah.
So OnlyFans. That I don't know, man. I think those kids are in some trouble. I'm not, whatever. Do whatever you want.
That's a level of misery that most kids don't deserve.
No, your kids are going to get hell for that. I mean, I know, like at my youngest school, he doesn't want my wife to. it's not just embarrassment of parents, but he doesn't want my wife to chaperone anything. Because anytime a mom chaperones something at his school, everyone makes a "your mom, I'm going to bang your mom" joke. So he just doesn't want to go through that level of hell.
Yeah, it doesn't help that, your wife is a pretty lady.
No,
either.
she's not. Don't say that.
I was pretty lucky growing up. A few of my best pals' mothers were slinging some serious heat.
I only had one friend whose mom was, like, stupidly attractive.
Slinging heat. Now, like you said, when you're that age, you catch hell. And a good example of that was one of my buddy's mothers, who was a very attractive lady. She did do a lot of sunbathing. They had a pool in the backyard. She did a lot of sunbathing. Now, according to one of my other buddies, it's a true story. We would come around the corner on summer days to go swimming, and she would be laid out in her bikini, and she looked pretty damn good in her bikini. According to another one of my buddies, he came over to their house one day, and she was sunbathing naked. Ooh. He brought that up to that woman's son at school every day for the next 3.5 years. Every day for the next 3.5 years. Saw your mom naked. It didn't matter what we were talking. You see the Vikings game last night? That wasn't a holding penalty. Saw your mom naked. So you're right. I mean, at that age, it's brutal. All right, so here's the thoughts from one parent with a kid at the school that we're talking about, the lady with the porno ad in the back of her window, car window. One parent with a kid at the school said she can do what she wants on her own time. I have no problem with that, but we're talking about a school with kids seeing this. That's a different issue. I understand, sure.
You kind of wonder if this is totally intentional for exactly what's happening now, right? People are going to talk about her and
of course,
post the views on her page.
Any damn time.
I mean, forget the fact that kids are going to get all levels of hell.
Mm-hmm. Any damn time a story like this comes up, of course, that has to enter your mind at least for a second. But here we go. We're going to get to hear my favorite parenting line here in a minute, or at least really close to my favorite parenting line. A mother in town with a child at the same school said, on the topic of the lady with the porn website address on the back window of her car, the mother said, "We have enough things to worry about as parents. Enough damaging things we do our best to shield our kids from. Now I have to look at it in the drop-off area and have my kids ask what that site is?" There it is. That's awfully close to saying, "How am I supposed to explain that to my kids?" Which is, I love that. For Pete's sake, you know what I'd do? You know what I would do? And I know the last thing some parents ever want to hear is an opinion on parenting from someone without children. To some, that is the ultimate insult. Some parents would rather...
You're a cat dad. What do they call it? A fur parent? What do they call that?
He's got a couple fur babies.
Fur babies, yeah.
Sure. But really, some parents would rather you walk in their house and fart in their face than ever make a single comment on parenting if you don't already have children. But I'm going to go ahead anyway. And by the way, those same parents who simply will not listen to the opinion of a non-parent usually have what they believe is an expert opinion on every other damn thing on planet Earth. But they're too lost in their own BS to acknowledge that hypocrisy. But hear me out, if you will. If my kid asks me, "Hey, what does that website mean on the back window?" Whatever happened to this answer? This is what my folks said to me when I asked about things that a kid didn't need to know about yet. They'd say, "None of your business, be quiet."
Yep.
Or how about this? One more, Josh, if you don't mind. If my kid says to me, "Hey, what does that website mean on that back window?" I'd tell them, "Oh, that's a website to help you better understand healthy nutritional substitutes for candy and pop and potato chips."
Oh, that's a good point. Then they're never going to go on it.
What effing kid's going to follow up on that?
For me, if there's something like that, I'd probably rather be there in that situation so I can explain it. I'm not going to judge this lady. I don't know what she's going through, but for me, it'd be good I can give my thing out there. Like, hey, that's a site that I've been trying to get mom on for a long time. She refuses to do it.
Yeah, it's better that you're the one explaining what that is to them over like one of their classmates.
Or them just Googling it.
Yeah, you tell your son, "Oh, I'll tell you what that website is." It's a website where if your mom would get involved, we'd be driving a better car to school.
We'd have a pool.
Son, you want a cabin? Let's talk to Mom.
Anyway, so porn mom wants to keep her kids enrolled in this Christian school because she feels they're better protected from taunts than at a public school. All right. She said about she and her husband, because her husband shows up in her videos too, his penis and whatnot. She said, we've been open with our children about what we do. Oh, no, that sucks.
That's gross.
Most kids probably would rather their parents not be open about that kind of thing.
Or really anything. They don't care what you do.
No, anything. Don't be open. They don't really care what you write. That's exactly right. They don't care what you're doing in the first place. And finally, Mom said, I found this interesting. I think we are teaching them a good lesson, referring to her children. We're teaching them not to stop doing something just because people are offended. Well, that depends on what you're doing that is offending people.
Yeah, you can't use that as a blanket excuse.
Like, say, sticking your finger up your butt in public will likely offend quite a few people, and despite what your mother taught you, it's probably a good idea to stop doing that. That's just a random example.
Crocs with Socks Jesus said his mom was a playground monitor at school during 6th grade. Oh, what a terrible year for that. Might as well have painted a target on my head. I got so much grief. Someone else said their mom was a stripper, and they got tons of hell over that, too.
I bet.
Now, here's a listener right here. If you're not a parent, you should not have an opinion on raising kids. You can't have any opinion. As a grown person, there's no way I could ever come up with any decent opinion on raising children. None?
Nope.
None.
Not allowed, I guess.
I mean, are you serious? Why? We can have opinions on all different kinds of things that we're not directly connected to. Why can't we have an opinion on raising children? Why is that a steadfast rule?
I think one of the huge reasons is that they're so afraid that you're going to be right. And like they feel like, oh, I'm a parent. I should know like better. I should know what like as much as the childless person knows. So I think they just feel inferior.
I love when I ask.
Maybe that may be a decent theory. Go ahead, Wapple.
I love when you ask some parents and you're like, how do you get through it? And they're just like, I have no idea. Just kind of going through it by the motions, you know.
Yeah. My life is actually miserable. I'm barely hanging on.
Good Lord. On a side note, did you folks know that Snoop Dogg turned down a $100 million OnlyFans deal?
Yeah.
Wow. They wanted him to masturbate and things like that, and they'd give him $100 million.
He was talking about that on a podcast not too long ago.
The direct quote that I read, Josh, he said, my wife won't let me, quote, pull that thang out.
Yep.
He gives me big D energy.
He does what?
He gives me big D energy.
He gives that to you.
Yeah, I mean, he's so like tall and skinny, and I think usually dudes that are built like that usually are they've got a hog between their legs.
I've got one, but it's not a big one. So I thought Big D energy was more like you've got a swagger as if you have a huge D. It was more like your aura.
You can
your
use
mojo.
it either way.
It's how you use it, right, Ashley?
Yeah.
I like this text from Microcar Jesus. He said, a lot of us have never been directly connected to politics, but we all seem to have a political opinion these days. Yeah. But why is that an untouchable subject? If you don't have kids, you can't have an opinion on raising children? Well, sorry, I do.
I like when it's like obvious things too. Like, oh, it's probably good to bathe your kid more than once a week. No, it's not. Don't tell me how to parent. Okay, never mind.
Don't you tell me how to raise my kids. You don't have any. Yeah, my kid the other day, he broke into a car and killed a dog. Well, that's a bad idea. What would you know? You don't have any kids.
Seriously.
Jesus criminy. All right, here we go. The neighborhood daycare center. Now, I've never worked there, and I know I'm not allowed to have an opinion on it. But I have a story here on the neighborhood daycare center. Wapple hasn't been allowed to come within 500 feet of one of those places for years. But you know what, Wapple? It's okay to me if you have an opinion on it.
Okay.
It is.
Well, I'm directly involved with the daycare.
Unfortunately, you were. Yes. Yeah.
So I could have an opinion.
Boy, I bet it's a nightmare over at the local daycare center.
So many boogers.
So many boogers.
Gross.
Just snot everywhere.
Yeah.
Don't say
anything
boog.
you touch.
Is it all boogers?
Yeah,
everything.
I think everything in there is made out of a booger.
Everything's sticky.
God, it's like the floorboards in Dana's car. Just crusted boogers.
It's like the underseat of Dana's car.
No, it's just the steering wheel.
You want to revisit them?
Yeah.
Hello, old friend.
Hello. So many good memories.
I know an individual who worked at a daycare center. I do. But that was until this individual lost track of the little kid they were supposed to be watching. And the kid ended up taking a walk down a freeway.
Keeping an eye on the kid, I think that's one of the main responsibilities of that job.
Wasn't that the only kid?
Dude, yes.
Yeah.
They said, you're new here. We're not going to give you too much to do. Keep an eye on that kid. His name is Gary, they said. This is little Gary. Yeah, I'll keep an eye on Gary. A couple hours later, how are you and Gary doing? Gary who? The one kid that, oh my God, where? Not kidding. The kid was found walking down a freeway.
How long did it take to find the kid?
It was some time.
Couple of years.
Some time had gone by. The kid was fine. My friend was not able to keep that gig.
Yeah, I think there'd be grounds for dismissal.
Sits on baby Jesus says, as the name suggests, I deal with those snot rocket brats daily. Yeah, she's got some experience.
Here's a deal here for you. There's a little girl at a daycare center in Pennsylvania who cusses and swears so damn much that one of the teachers had to come up with a cute gimmick to try and keep this foul-mouthed kid from influencing the other children into also talking like a Dave Chappelle stand-up comedy show. The daycare teacher allows this little girl to unleash all of her favorite swear words while alone in the bathroom so no one else can hear it. The teacher goes by the name of Tina Midkiff, or as the little girl calls her, bitch. No, I'm kidding. Mrs. Midkiff was having trouble with this little girl, and all the F-bombs and MFs, not kidding you, MFs, and all the filth coming out of this little girl's yap at the daycare joint was creating problems. So this is the idea the lady came up with. Mrs. Midkiff cleared this idea with the little girl's mother, and they went ahead with it. So there's video of this little girl cussing up and down in the bathroom at the daycare center. In the video, Mrs. Midkiff says to the kid, we're not cussing anywhere but in the bathroom. We're not going to give the finger anywhere but in the bathroom. Get it out of your system, she says to the kid.
We are not cussing anywhere but in the bathroom. Okay. And we are not going to give the finger anywhere but in the bathroom.
Okay.
She sends the kid in there as soon as the door is shut. Little Curly Sue, or whatever the little kid's name is, she cuts loose.
Oh my gosh. I kind of love this little kid.
She's whispering.
She is super cute, too.
Dude, I get it. Do you guys ever do that? Go to the bathroom at like events or something, whatever, or a family event, and you're just, everything that you want to say, you just kind of whisper to yourself. No. Oh, I've done that.
It feels pretty good.
Little calm down session, yeah.
I love when she said, like you're a mother F.
She's whispering and looking into a mirror. I don't know, did the kid know there was a camera in there? I don't know.
She's looking into the mirror. That makes it even better. Eye contact.
Mother effer, she starts off with. I know it's hard to hear because she's whispering and we had to bleep out. This is at least a piece of what this little girl... I'm no good at this, Josh. How old is this little girl? 5 years old?
Oh, yeah, maybe younger. But, geez, she could be, 4 or 5.
Mother effer. You bitch, mother effer. What are you saying, like mother effer? I don't know what you're saying, bitch. It went on and on until she was out of time. This teacher at the daycare center, Mrs. Midkiff, said her 2 favorite words are butthole and bitch.
Those are good ones, aren't they? Uh-huh. Especially butthole.
Yep.
She is a great kid. She will go places. She will do things with her life.
Got a lot of personality.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Mrs. Midkiff says she's so rotten, but I love her to death.
Yeah, I'm going to guess like 3 or 4 years old.
Do you
Adorable.
guys...
She could be like a movie star. Like she could star as Like
Annie.
Yeah, Annie.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
You guys remember the first time you dumped something really foul in front of your folks or in front of an adult? And the reaction that followed? I do.
No, I don't.
The first was my brother. It wasn't me. We were very, very little kids. And we were at our grandparents' place on my dad's side. And it was time for us to go to bed. And while my brother and I were attempting to fall asleep, you know, the adults are playing cards and drinking beer, grandparents and my parents and this and that. And my brother was saying, I've got this great joke that I want to go tell the grown folks, you know. Will you come with me to come tell this joke? And I said, well, yeah. And I was excited. I didn't know what was coming. Now, for an older, maybe you don't have to be that old. Does everyone, I don't remember the whole setup, but does everyone remember, this joke is older than the hills. The punchline is pass the effing ketchup.
I think I've heard you tell it.
Okay.
I don't remember.
It's older than the hills. Maybe you have to be a little older person, but it was a big joke for a stretch of time where the punchline is pass the effing ketchup. Now, we're tiny little kids, and my brother and I walk out to where the adults are drinking beer, and my brother says, I have a joke, and he tells this joke, and when he dumped that punchline, pass the effing ketchup, I to this day, I remember every man at the table roared with laughter, and every woman at the table was absolutely shocked and disgusted. Shocked, and then my brother, who didn't even know what he was saying, was horrified by the look on my mother's face, my grandmother's face, and it was just one of those moments in time that I'll never forget. We didn't know, he didn't know what he was even saying. For me personally, when I was at my big moment where I cussed terribly in front of an adult, again, I was very little, and we had a little Brittany Spaniel at the time, and she was quite wild, and I was very protective of this Brittany Spaniel because we lived on a major highway, and when anyone let that dog outside, they better keep an eye on that dog because I didn't want her to get hit. Because I told you not that long ago, the dog that we had before that, Babe, she got hit on that highway, right?
Yep.
So we get another dog. I don't want my dog to get killed on the highway. So anyone who let that dog out, I would be like in charge of the situation, even though I was a little kid. So my uncle comes over, lets that dog out, and he wasn't paying close enough attention to that dog. And I said, keep an eye on that dog, you GD son of a bitch, bastard, mother F. I unloaded on him. And he was absolutely furious with me.
Oh, I've been dying.
But I bet you didn't whisper.
No. I didn't think he was keeping a close enough eye on that dog, and I unloaded on him with some foul stuff, and he just... And I ran. When I saw the look on his face, I ran. All right, here we go. What else is going on?
Did Blondes Are Just for Practice Jesus get back to us? He had mentioned he'll be at the Mr. Big Show with me and Nick. And we were wondering, well, what are you leading up to if you're practicing on blondes? What color hair? Anybody see anything from
I haven't seen a follow-up, no.
Driving me crazy.
That's a great question, though. All right, it's not just your shady-ass, jobless high school dropout cousin that's mixing up the meth rocks in his bathtub. Even the educated people are cooking it up. Says here a former chemistry graduate student at a school called Southern Illinois University, Edwardsville. An individual who won awards for his academics got busted for operating a meth lab on campus. They saw something shady going on at the science building. There were some meth-making products laying around. Campus police investigated. It turned out that this top-notch chemistry graduate student, a dude by the name of Jeremy Smalling, was the guy. He won the 20+18 University Award for Physical Chemistry, whatever the hell that means. Cops put a GPS tracker on his car. He was ducking into Walmart and Walgreens and buying up whatever it takes to make meth rocks. The cops saw him go into his apartment with meth-making materials. They then noticed his bedroom window was open, even though it was only 26 degrees at the time. And he was cooking meth up in there, too. Now that's how you piss a promising future down your leg right there.
Yeah.
No doubt, man. You're that bright. You could hopefully use that for something better.
It's always funny when you hear these stories about people starting their own meth labs and they say they were inspired by Breaking Bad. Did they not watch the end of the series? It didn't really turn out too well for anybody.
Well, you know, I said he was smart, but he did do it at a college in a public place, so maybe not that smart.
Oh,
heard those meth houses are pretty bad. They basically got to tear them down, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. They just smell and the walls fall apart. I mean,
dangerous.
Yeah, I think, haven't we all heard the same thing? You know, just meth cooking, right? The what's the word? Like a cloud.
The fumes?
The fume. That's it. That's right. Thank you. For Christ's sake. Just the fumes will bring a house down after time. So imagine what it does to your insides, for Pete's sake. Thank you. I don't know how I got cloud. I'm like, fumes. I was going to say mist. Words just escaped me. A fancy.
It's not easy.
No. Talking?
Yeah.
No, not at all. A fancy schmancy exclusive golf country club kind of a joint in Northern California just got fingered for running an illegal cannabis business. They had the golf going on the side. They were growing and selling Sega weed.
That's cool.
I invented my own kind of grass. Did you know that? This is a hybrid. This is a cross. Kentucky bluegrass, feather bench, and Northern California sensimilla. The amazing stuff about this is that you can play 36 holes on it in the afternoon, take it home, and just get stoned to the bejesus belt that night on this stuff. It's a little harsh.
That's cool, Waffle says.
Yeah. Cannonball coming. It's a cannonball. Cops pulled up onto this joint last Thursday morning. They found thousands of dollars worth of illegal cannabis products, paraphernalia. The word is in town that the club's been running this scam for, quote, a significant amount of time. There's a criminal investigation. Well, if the fancy country club is closed, then where are the rich ass bags supposed to hang out now for hours on end, congratulating each other on being so important?
Fancy gyms.
Do they go to the gym?
Probably fancy gyms. Yeah.
Pickleball courts.
Yes. Pickleball courts.
That'd be sweet. Just have a cart girl roll up and, would you like a joint, a blunt?
Yeah, that would be pretty cool.
It's not that cool anymore, Wapple. It's kind of played itself out, to be totally honest with you. But
no, I think it'd be cool.
Which would you take, Wapple?
I'd go blunt.
You would?
Yeah.
Might treat yourself.
Yeah. I'm playing 18 holes. You know, it's going to be a long day.
I don't know. The first couple holes after you're done with that blunt might be a little difficult, too.
Oh, we'll get it done.
Can one person take down a whole blunt, or is that something you share?
If they want to.
Yeah, you could, but it's a sharing thing.
Yeah.
Feels like kind of a waste.
I'm more of a spliff guy. Don't talk to me about blunts. I'm a spliff man. All right, real quick before we go, a day or two we were talking about the stupid-ass non-emergency phone calls that have been fielded by frustrated emergency operators over there in England. A day or two ago we talked about that. Hey, I need an ambulance. I ate too much and I have a stomach ache. Hey, I need an ambulance. I've misplaced my contact lenses. Moronic things like that. How about I fill you in on the same nonsense, but from here in the States in a town called Atlanta, Georgia? Are you willing to go along with that?
Yep.
Yeah.
There isn't a pile of
Our corporate headquarters, as you know. Atlanta, Georgia.
I couldn't have told you that if you gave me 2 hours and 25 minutes. There isn't a pile of hilarious stuff here, but it's worth a little bit of our time. Atlanta 911 dispatchers, they have to deal with stupid people making stupid phone calls too. Non-emergency calls. But people treat them like it's a real emergency. You've heard this said before. Stupid calls are tying up resources that could be used on real emergencies. So here we go. Let me dump this on you. Someone called 911 to ask for help moving pillows from one couch to another.
That can be difficult, I suppose.
Another called to ask for an update on the score of a ball game.
TV's on the fritz.
Yep.
The Atlanta 911 folks handle 3,700 calls per day, and roughly 60% of those calls that come into 911 are non-emergency. One emergency operator says, I love this. If you want to know where your loved one is in jail, go to the jail website. You don't have to call 911 for that. Hello, is this 911? My mom is in jail, but I'm not sure where.
Is Stacy there?
You bastard. Is that the one that's got it going on?
Yeah.
She's about 5'3". She has a tattoo above her left boob that says Kid Rock rules.
You trying to move pillows from one couch to another couch?
Yeah. Fire and rescue don't provide those type of services. I'm sorry.
This is 911. What's the address of your emergency?
Yeah, you don't know what the score is, do you?
The score to what, sir?
I'm sorry?
To what game? What game you trying to watch?
Well, that's going to help him out.
Dracula called 911 to find out that...
Well, he just woke... Yeah, maybe that's why.
Hello.
He was up all night.
Do you have the score of the ball game?
Maybe it was one of those noon Twins games.
The Braves and the Astros playing a doubleheader. All right, we got to go.
Sports on the 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
Metropolis has been invaded, and you must face the very heroes who once protected it. Do the impossible in Suicide Squad. Kill the Justice League. Can I say that? When it launches on February 2nd. You said it. Feels like I've broken an FCC rule right there.
That's pretty funny.
Oh, Kevin Harlan and Reggie Miller having time doesn't make any sense at all. Having fun with a liner they had to read about a new movie?
A video game. Video game coming out, yeah.
Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League. They're not messing around with what happens within that game.
Oh, not at all.
No, they're cutting right to the chase.
You know, it's one of those things, those guys have so much to do. I'm sure somebody just handed it to him, and as he's reading it, he realizes, what the hell am I reading? Waffle, have you ever had trouble with a live read before?
Oh! Never.
Nah, none of us have. God, when I was on my way into work today, I thought, I know I'm going to see Anthony Edwards walking on the sidewalk, penniless. And I thought, if I see him, I'll give him a hand. I don't know if you guys know this, but Anthony Edwards got fined $40,000 by the NBA. I swear to God, does he have somewhere to stay?
I don't know. Is he okay? I was worried about him, too.
I thought for sure I'd see him just strolling down the sidewalk aimlessly.
I hope somebody sets up a GoFundMe.
Right.
Yeah, it's the right thing to do.
That's just similar to someone taking 75 cents out of your pocket while you're passed out on the couch. $40,000. I'm happy that Anthony Edwards said what he said the other night about the officials, and that's why he got the fine. And, of course, we're being very sarcastic. The guy's got plenty of dough, and I love the kid. He's got the money, $40,000. And someone, it was my freaking wife, asked me last night, doesn't that money go to charity anyway when the players get fined?
I believe so, yeah.
Oh, that's awesome, then.
There you go. Whatever. Everyone goes home a winner, right, Josh?
Yeah. Benefit some folks. Hopefully people that could use it, like Anthony Edwards, who was just fined $40,000.
Right. It took a little while for the fellas to get cooking, but eventually the Timberwolves stomped a mud hole in the Dallas Mavericks, and then they walked it dry. The final from Target Center last night was 121-87. We'll get into that in a half hour. We got Randy Shaver going to stop by. We'll get into that, but God, it was fun watching the Mavericks without that Doncic puke. Oh, God, it was fun watching that game without that son of a bitch. Oh, and speaking of video games, we were talking about Escape from the Suicide Island, the murder of all that is human.
Suicide Squad kills the Justice League.
Right, the killing of all. You guys play video games? You ever played a basketball video game called, don't tell me, NBA Infinite?
I wasn't familiar with that one.
Me neither.
Carl Anthony Towns going to be on the cover of that video game. That's a big deal to the players, isn't it?
Oh, very much so.
Or do they not give a rat's ass about the smaller time games? They always want to be on the EA. I don't know how they...
I think he probably would much rather be on one of the bigger ones.
Well, Carl's going to be on the cover of this NBA Infinite.
I used to play NBA Street.
That game was
fun. Oh, I love that game.
Yeah, 3-on-3 basketball. You pretty much do whatever you want.
Dude, alley-oops?
Alley-oops, you could taunt, you could bounce it off the other player's head and then alley-oop it in.
What?
Yeah.
Cool. This sounds like fun.
Off their head.
Yeah.
Do they teach you the proper fundamentals in that game?
I don't think so.
Okay. At 3-on-3, you said? Mm-hmm. This game has 5-on-5, 3-on-3, and 1-on-1.
One-on-one.
And a 3-point contest.
Oh.
Well, tell me if this is a big deal. More than 2.5 million people have already pre-registered for this game. Is that a lot? Or
sounds like it to me.
Yeah.
All right. Like
Did
I
you
said,
say they had a slam dunk contest?
I didn't read anything about slam dunking the basketball.
That was always fun, slam dunk contest.
I hear you.
Games.
I hear you. All right, Randy Shaver in a half hour. Don't go anywhere because Josh's news is coming up.
Half-assed morning show.
They're loud, they lose control, they do their little circus act, they're a nuisance.
93X.
Our experienced and certified technicians at Standard Heating have been trusted to keep our fellow Minnesotans comfortable and confident for over 90 years. We're ready to do the same for you, providing comfort you deserve since 1930.
Standard Heating is having their 94-year celebration. They have special offers just for you this February. Whether you need a new furnace or a tune-up, they have something special for everyone. Visit standardheating.com to save today.
Fast morning show. 93X.
What I hope is accomplished is that hopefully our local drug dealers realize that we're watching, we're paying attention, our officers are watching. If we find out you're selling drugs in Clifton, we're going to come after you.
Because they want those drugs. Yeah. They got a party coming up this weekend. Police are calling the arrest of nearly a dozen people Operation Blizzard after they discovered people were selling more than just frozen treats at a local Dairy Queen in Clifton, Texas.
The reason we called it Operation Blizzard is because it started with some employees at our local Dairy Queen. What started out as a couple guys that worked there selling methamphetamines turned into a pretty big operation.
The Clifton Police Department arrested 10 in connection with selling meth around multiple locations in town, including the Dairy Queen, where several of them worked. Local law enforcement had investigated the case since June of last year when they received a tip. People were selling meth in the small town, which is a little northwest of Waco.
Any town that says they don't have a drug problem is not being logical because every town has a drug problem.
The news release said police discovered several people selling the drugs at the Dairy Queen where they worked, hence the name Operation Blizzard. They set up undercover purchases and learned the meth was also being sold around other locations in the city. The charges range from manufacture or deliver controlled substance to engaging in organized criminal activity.
Man,
they'd be in some trouble. They'd be hiring at Dairy Queen, it sounds like. They lost 10 employees in this deal.
I could go for a meth blizzard right now.
Such a wonderful place. It hurts to hear that there's a little bit of darkness surrounding any Dairy Queen. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, plenty of businesses that seem to get that. I mean, shoot, Walmart's quite the target. Doesn't seem right.
Yeah.
Target, also a target in our next story. A former Target worker from Virginia has been sentenced to a century in prison for attacking a colleague he accused of stealing his lunch. During his sentencing Tuesday, the 25-year-old threatened to kill or hurt more people unless he was given the harshest possible punishment.
What the hell?
A judge handed him a 100-year prison term with 30 years suspended, so he'll spend the next 70 behind bars. The 25-year-old worked at a Target store where in August of 2021, he ambushed a 58-year-old store janitor because he claimed the victim stole his food from the office fridge. The disgruntled worker said he was upset by the alleged theft, so he spent the next few days plotting his revenge and began, quote, training for murder. He fled after the attack, but eventually surrendered himself to police who were still at the scene investigating the crime. And in Wisconsin, a 28-year-old incarcerated woman attacked her cellmate for allegedly using her toothbrush to scrub their shared toilet.
Yeah, don't touch my toothbrush.
But the first dude you were talking about, he straight up said, if you don't give me the harshest sentence, I will kill someone again?
He will kill or hurt more people.
Well, at least he's honest.
That's how you get put away there, pal.
A severely drunk South Carolina man will head to court next month after slapping a teenage hostess at Walt Disney World, a restaurant there, 3 times because she couldn't seat him due to the restaurant's dress code. He's 64. 64-year-old John Monroe, no stranger to luxury hotels because he's the vice president of hospitality sales and marketing at one, a prestigious one, Sea Pines Resort in Hilton Head, where he lives.
Oh, I'll be damned.
An investigation revealed a 19-year-old hostess was checking in a group who had a reservation for 3, but they did arrive with 4 people. She said that wouldn't be a problem. Monroe, one of those 4 people, was wearing swimming shorts and a T-shirt, and he was told that he wouldn't be allowed to dine there because the restaurant explicitly states swimwear is not allowed. He refused to change. He seemed to understand at first, but still followed the party of 3 to their table even though he wasn't allowed to do so. Please don't allow him to sit with us. He's really drunk, underdressed. It's my birthday and I'm embarrassed, one of the women who was with him told the hostess. The people that were with him didn't even want him there. When she told Monroe he couldn't sit with the group, he began to repeatedly slap her forehead 3 times while stating her name, which he read from the name tag on her shirt. Deputies caught up with Monroe, who they said was apparently intoxicated based on his slurred speech, glossy red eyes, and constant repeating that he was going to, quote, sue Disney. After the 64-year-old was arrested, his job wasn't too happy about it, as you can imagine. The hotel VP was placed on administrative leave from the hotel he worked at.
Drunk big shot, doesn't like to be told what to do.
Hey, I work in hospitality. I know how it goes. A woman was taken into police custody in the Maryland suburbs of Washington following a series of apparently random stabbings and pedestrians struck by a vehicle.
I don't know if somebody just riding around hitting people on purpose, but we got one down in front of the church. Polarized male came to the location. He either shot or hit this person.
The attacks occurred over roughly 2 hours last Thursday night as police searched for the person responsible. 6 people injured, Deputy Chief James McCreary said. Unfortunately, this does appear to be a random act, he said. He said investigators would continue looking into any possible relationship between the victims and their attacker, but at this time, it appears she chose her victims at random. This evolved rapidly, McCreary said. I've been on the department for 20 years now, and I can say I've not seen anything like this since I joined the police department. Tanae Stalings Brown was arrested and charged Friday with dozens of offenses. Prince George's County Police are currently searching for anyone else who may have been a victim in last week's violent rampage.
Yeah, drive around running folks over.
Yeah, no reason. Just went for it. A man found himself behind bars after he dashed into a church thrift store while naked and stole a T-shirt. And that's it. 38-year-old Michael DaCosta was arrested and charged with retail theft and indecent exposure after the incident at Wings of Faith thrift store in Florida last Wednesday.
Well, here's a guy who really needed to visit the thrift store. He didn't have a lick of clothing on.
Deputies responded to the church thrift store after several people flagged him down to report there was a naked man running around everywhere. Witnesses said he was wearing glasses and had a pair of blue shorts with him, but he wasn't wearing them. And his balls and pecker were out for everyone to see.
Hell yeah.
It's terrible.
When police caught up with him a mile away, he told deputies he was running from somewhere naked and went to the thrift store to gather some clothes. He allegedly entered the store fully nude. A clerk at the thrift shop gave him a pair of shorts and told him to leave, but he wound up stealing a T-shirt on his way out, still completely naked. Then in California, a man was arrested after entering a church and threatening an employee with a box cutter. That incident occurred last Monday evening at approximately 7:31 p.m. when the Redwood City Police Department received a report of a subject threatening an employee with a blade at Street Life Ministries Church. The suspect took off shortly after the confrontation, but the individual who reported it to police followed the suspect until police were able to locate him in a nearby neighborhood. It's unclear if the 29-year-old was affiliated with the church, knew anybody there, or just why he would go about threatening the employee. Nobody was injured during that assault, and the investigation into that incident is ongoing. A passenger aboard a Frontier Airlines flight from Orlando to Philadelphia, whose outburst went viral late last year, will now face federal charges after her caught-on-video meltdown. You may remember this one, in which she pulled down her pants and underwear and, quote, flashed her anus and genitalia to the cabin, cursed at the crew, and threatened to kill fellow flyers.
Anus.
That's what they put in the report.
I love it. It's great.
The 60-year-old woman got out of her seat.
60-year-old anus.
Yes.
Oh, no. I don't want to see that.
It's not that bad.
Got out of her seat while the plane was about to land in Philly and announced, I gotta go pee.
I gotta go pee.
Remember that one?
Yeah. Okay.
Well, now I do. Sure.
A flight attendant told her she had to sit down, but the woman began cursing before finally taking her seat during her outburst. After the plane landed and was taxiing to the gate, the woman began cursing at passengers around her, telling them here's another quote, go F yourself. At the gate, she allegedly pushed other passengers out of the way as she went to the front of the cabin where she approached the bathroom but was stopped by the crew.
Sorry, everybody. Are you serious?
As you heard there, she announced, sorry, everybody, before pulling down her pants and underwear. She squatted in the urinate position.
The gasp scene from everybody else on the plane.
Despite the stooped stance, she stopped short of relieving herself on the floor and pulled her drawers back up and then began cursing again at the passengers.
And so what's the final call on this moron?
She's facing several charges at this point.
Several charges?
Federal charges.
I'm sorry. I thought you... Yes, okay, federal. Well, that is hilarious.
Laser strikes aimed at aircraft, including airline planes, surged 41% last year to a record high. The FAA said yesterday it received 13,304 reports from pilots about laser strikes last year, erasing a record set in 2021.
Aiming a laser at an aircraft is a serious safety hazard that puts everyone on the plane and on the ground at risk. A laser strike can temporarily blind a pilot or cause severe eye injury, and the FAA takes this threat very seriously.
The FAA said pilots have reported 313 injuries since the agency started keeping records in 2010. Each of the last 5 months of 2023 surpassed the previous high month, November of 2021. The full year rise over 2022 numbers easily topped the 28% increase in reported incidents from 16 to 22. Authorities blame the surge in attacks on factors like the widespread sale of inexpensive lasers in stores and online, stronger devices that can hit planes at higher altitudes, and the increased awareness among pilots to report the incidents, and then all the dorks that decide to do it. The FAA said it can fine violators $11,000 for each violation, up to $30,800, and federal, state, and local law enforcement agencies can file criminal charges as well. According to FAA data, laser strikes at aircraft are most common during the first few hours after midnight.
You used the perfect word there too, Josh. Dorks.
Yeah, it's so
that's
dirty and dangerous.
It's so
That's what
lame.
you are. Look, if you got a laser and you're just itching to use it, before Grandma calls you for dinner,
get a cat.
Get a cat.
Yeah, that's what you need, a cat.
I love that
That's
stuff.
good comedy. They do.
Or take it to a WCW house show.
No, don't do that. Don't bring that. For a while, that was a thing.
That
right?
was at wrestling events.
Oh, really? That's awful.
yeah.
Can't you
Concerts?
blind somebody?
Yeah, that's the issue here.
Yeah, that's awful.
Yeah, concerts and different events, people were doing that. Minneapolis police and Ramsey County deputies arrested 5 teenagers Tuesday after a carjacking in Minneapolis.
All 5 were well known to the Ramsey County carjacking and auto theft team. Startling when we first started the unit to see individuals as young as we were dealing with.
Police tracked the vehicle to the area of Interstate 94 and Dale Street in St. Paul before officers were able to trap the car in an overpass. They booked 2 16-year-old boys, a 17-year-old boy, a 13-year-old girl, and a 17-year-old girl in the Ramsey County Juvenile Detention Center. According to police, this incident was the 16th carjacking in Minneapolis this year, which actually is significantly lower than the same period last year. By the end of January 2023, they saw 29 carjackings that month. Both Minneapolis and St. Paul police said they're seeing a downward trend when it comes to carjackings in the Twin Cities. That's good. In Minneapolis in 2019, there were 104. By 2021, there were 655. Jeez. They ended last year with 305. In St. Paul, where the department didn't even track carjackings as a specific category of crime before 2020, apparently because how infrequent it was.
Carjacking, it's an official title now, but it was a robbery in the past. We were having a lot of carjackings, but the number of people responsible for them was a small group.
There were 42 carjackings in the capital city last year compared to a high of 103 in 2021. Some Twin Cities drivers are experiencing a different kind of pain at the pump. Surveillance video from a South Minneapolis gas station shows a thief taking a poor dude's car while he was filling up Monday.
I thought for a second that I had forgotten to put it in park. I never saw the black car. I never heard it. In a crazy way, you almost have to admire how great the crooks were.
It's got a good attitude. Yeah. 2 weeks earlier, a woman experienced something similar while she was pumping gas at an Edina station.
Heard the door slam and the doors lock, and this guy just got in my car and sped away. Never saw him other than a blur. I was pretty stunned, I think, for the first several hours.
Both cars were recovered, and the victims say the experience has been a lesson in vigilance.
The keys don't leave my pocket. I'm locking, probably more than I need to lock, but it helps make me feel better right now.
Edina police have recorded 8 car thefts in the city since the new year. Minneapolis crime data shows January has 7 on average, 17 cars stolen per day, and that's down about 20% from last year.
The more we can create awareness, get people thinking about it, talking about it, taking those extra steps, it's going to be worth it to maybe have it be lessened in our community as much as we can.
No arrests have been made in either case. Meanwhile, a police department in Washington state is asking for the public's help after their radar trailer got stolen. The ones they park on the side of the road to tell you for speeding. Some guy hooked it up to his pickup truck and just drove away.
I kind of love that.
At last check, they hadn't tracked it down yet, so they're looking for the public's help to find it. Police made a social media post about it, and under the Your Speed sign, they photoshopped, "Help me." Trying to find that thing.
It's in some guy's basement somewhere next to his bar.
You think so?
New decoration, yeah.
Florida man was arrested after police said, what am I? Oh, you know, I don't want to do this one. I'm going to do this one.
Don't do that one.
Sorry,
do the other one.
I'm going to do the other one. I'll save this one. 4 current and former Massachusetts state troopers were among 6 people arrested in connection with a bribery conspiracy scheme to guarantee passing scores for commercial driver's licenses. From around May 2019 to January 2023, the troopers and others involved conspired to give special treatment to about 17 CDL applicants by agreeing to give passing scores on their skills tests, whether or not they actually passed, using the code word golden to identify those applicants. In return for passing unqualified applicants, they accepted personal bribes, including a new driveway valued at $10,000 and a $2,000 snowblower. The alleged conspirators even texted each other about how horrible and brain dead certain applicants they passed were, and how they would never have gotten licenses without their intervention.
The reality is that today's a sober reminder that none of us are above the law. The CDLs were for sale, and troopers were bribed with free goods to pass applicants no matter how they performed on the test.
The grand jury indictment against the 6 men includes charges of extortion, mail fraud, conspiracy, false statements, and falsification of records. That sounds pretty dangerous.
Yeah.
Yeah, these guys definitely shouldn't have a license.
These guys are dumb.
But they bought me a driveway.
Can't wait to see you on the road.
New driveway sounds pretty nice.
It does sound nice, doesn't it?
It does.
The limited series Kings from Queens, the Run DMC story, is now streaming on Paramount Plus. Tonight on ESPN, the 2024 Pro Bowl game Skills Showdown. Jimmy Kimmel has the cast of the upcoming Dune Part 2 as his guests, including Timothée Chalamet, Austin Butler, and Florence Pugh. John Cena joins Stephen Colbert. And Seth Meyers will sit down with Larry David to talk about the final season of Curb Your Enthusiasm that starts on Sunday. Ronda Rousey, 37 today.
Oh, God.
Dexter star Michael C. Hall turns 53, one of my all-time
Holy
favorite
cow,
shows.
53.
Is that a big deal to you or
I
something?
just would have never guessed.
Son of a bitch.
You got a guy that's almost 53 over here.
You son of a bitch.
Have a fun day on your first day of daycare. To Maddie, if you're listening. Happy 54th to Naked Swingin' Jesus. Truck Insurer Jesus checked in to send a birthday shout out to his dad, 69 years young today. Happy birthday to Iowegian Laser Tech Jesus. Happy birthday to Mrs. Alice Cooper Fan Jesus, turning 29 again today from your man, Alice Cooper Fan Jesus. He went on to say, nothing says I love you like getting a radio guy to do it for me. And a shout out to the Minnesota Red Bulls about to deploy to Kuwait. We wanted you to know we're more than grateful for your service and come back safe. And tan, I'd imagine come back tan as well. And that's 93X News.
Care 11's Randy Shaver.
He beat us. He hammered us with his arm. He ran when he needed to, and we did not handle it well.
On the Half-Assed Morning Show.
Coach Finch wanted you guys to stay consistent with your defense. You came out tonight, held Dallas under 100. How does that feel for when you guys lead with your D? Lead with your D.
Uh-oh.
Upsie dudes.
Who was the member of the Timberwolves that had to field that question?
Karl Anthony Towns.
How did he deal
with
it?
Encore? He went past it.
He handled it well. He's a professional. I turned it off.
You didn't watch the Encore interview after the game?
Nah, a lot of times I flip it off right when the game is over. Sorry I missed it. Hello, Randy Shaver.
Hello.
Leading with your D this morning?
Always.
You ought to.
Always.
You ought to. Be proud of that thing.
Yeah. Otherwise, I'm walking backwards.
Exactly.
Yeah, right.
Boy, am I excited to tell you about something here.
Okay.
Because I think it's going to put you in even a worse mood than the Chiefs and 49ers put you in on Sunday.
Why do you do that?
It's fun. It's fun. Okay. I'm sorry to say that I kind of like the angry, pissed off Randy. I do. You've been pissed off ever since those title games happened. Randy, you're not the only one. It's okay. We're all pissed off.
Yeah, but I wouldn't say I mean, I guess I'm just kind of disappointed.
Disappointed.
Oh, that's worse.
Aggravated.
That's way worse.
Okay.
I'm a dad disappointed.
I know. Grandpa's not mad. He's just disappointed.
Oh, come on, Josh.
That hurts more.
It does.
100%.
However you want to state it, don't worry about it. We're all in the same boat.
Don't worry about it.
Ain't no thing. Here's what I wanted to throw your way because I think it's
Okay.
gonna piss you off.
Okay.
The steroid Olympics are gonna happen.
Okay.
Because you used to run track and field.
I did.
You like the Olympics, do you not?
I do. I like the Summer Olympics only
Summer
because
Olympics.
that's what I'm
right.
most interested in. But
They
yes.
show you the hurdles and the steeple. What do you call this?
Steeplechase.
No. The thing you stab it into
Isn't
the
that a horse
ground
race?
and you.
The javelin.
No, you stab it into the ground.
Well, the pole vault.
Pole vault. All that stuff. Come on, you guys.
Well,
State of hockey.
state of track, Mike.
The steroid Olympics are going to happen. Juicers will finally get their day. That's what I was reading yesterday. Online investors pitched in a bunch of money to fund a series of events called the Enhanced Games, which describes itself as the 21st century Olympics without drug testing. This is unbelievable. If this really happens, this is going to be so much fun. Just these guys that are gassed out of their minds. I mean, imagine. Although, I'm the first guy to say that steroids are overrated, but let's just say that steroids finally become what so many people believe them to be, where you just pop a couple of these steroids and you're deadlifting a barn. You know what I mean? Let's say steroids really take hold the way some people believe they do, and we get to see guys shot putting short buses across the, So here's the deal. It says here, steroids, or the Enhanced Games, the folks behind it insist that steroids are good for athletes. Unlike the real Olympics, which refuses to let go of its boring obsession with health and fairness, the Enhanced Games promises a world-class sporting event that's fit for the modern era. And they even paid a doctor to say that the whole thing is healthy and smart and fine and everything. A doctor even stepped forward and said, contemporary drug testing isn't necessary for athlete safety. But at the same time, they promised to have, ambulances on scene or something along these lines.
Sure.
Just in case someone's arms come clean off, like
Sort
that
of
old,
like a tricep exploding or something.
I would hope so.
Like that old Saturday Night Live bit from 50 years ago, where the dude is getting set to deadlift and his arms just come smooth off.
Yeah.
Yep.
You'll see many of the same sports you enjoy at the regular Olympics: track plus field, swimming, gymnastics, weightlifting. Cubby, combat sports.
That's pretty cool.
Wapa. No word. Oh, my God. Speaking of words, there is no word on when this will take place, but this could be something to see.
Wapple, let's get you juiced up and send you over there. See how you do.
Oh, I'd like to see Wapple juiced up. The only thing I worry about is the rage, because he has it not on steroids.
That's what I thought would be a good part of this steroid Olympics, is watching everyone freak out.
Meltdowns if they don't win. Yeah.
There's a roid rage somewhere.
I know it wasn't too long ago that we made this reference, but we all saw what happened to Jimmy Vollmer.
Oh, yeah.
That went terribly. Ended up beating up his mother and his girlfriend.
Everyone.
Yeah. So there you go. I can't wait to get a final word on where and when and everything on the steroid Olympics. Randy, you still like to exercise and such, right?
Sure.
You ever try anything? What's the word I'm looking for? Anything
strenuous?
Well, no. Most of us like to avoid that. There's a word I guess all I can come up with is out of the ordinary. Do you have any out of the ordinary workout routines?
No, not really.
Like, do you put the wife on your back and do squats, like that kind of thing?
No, of course not. No.
Okay, no. I was reading about a guy in Britain, United Kingdom, England. I don't know exactly what. I always get lost on how am I supposed to refer to that?
You're right.
Okay, Britain. Cops stopped a runner. They spotted him with a refrigerator strapped to his back.
A refrigerator?
A refrigerator.
Like a real refrigerator?
Yeah, it looked like a real refrigerator to me. Cubby.
It wasn't a full size.
Oh, it wasn't?
No.
Oh.
What
kind of a
was
dorm
William
size.
Perry doing?
It's up on 93x.com if you want to check it out, Randy.
I assumed it was a full-size one because I've watched some of those goofy powerlifting type competitions where they run with a refrigerator on their back.
Right.
Those are funny. I like that stuff.
My brother likes to
watch those kind of things.
Flipping tires.
Yeah.
Right,
My brother
right.
likes to watch that stuff on television, and at times I'm trapped in the same room with him. And
hitting the tire with the sledgehammer. That's
well,
a big one.
what?
I see. That
haven't seen
all
that.
the time.
Well, that's like a workout thing, isn't it? I don't think
it's
there's
not much of a competition involved there.
So here's this guy in Britain running down the sidewalk with a refrigerator on his back, and the cops stopped him because they thought maybe he stole it from somebody's house. But it was just his way of.
I mean, I hate to tell the guy, but you can go buy like ankle weights.
Yeah,
kind of do the same thing.
What are those called? Ruck packs?
Yeah, without like ruining your back like that.
Well, how the hell can you compare ankle weights to a refrigerator on your back?
Well, what you're trying to do is make your legs feel so heavy that once you take them off and you start running, it's like you're light as a feather.
It's like a weighted bat.
Yeah,
that is
why
a
not?
good feeling. I love that.
Isn't there weighted vests?
Yeah, that's
isn't there like a backpack you could put like weights in or something that
All
wouldn't
the
look
above.
as stupid as what he's doing?
Here's the thing, though. This man is specifically training to run with a refrigerator on his back.
Oh, he's going to actually run the marathon with it. Oh, I see.
He is going to run a marathon with a refrigerator on his.
Dumber than I thought.
His name, good God, how disgustingly English is this? His name is Daniel Fairbrother. Hello, Daniel Fairbrother. I mean, my goodness. And he's from Hertfordshire, England. He is training for the London Marathon, where he will attempt to break the Guinness World Record for the fastest marathon while carrying a household appliance and raising money at the same time for diabetes.
So it could be any household appliance?
I was just going to say household appliance.
I'll take a toaster.
Why
Yeah.
not strap a can opener to your back?
Can opener, yeah.
I'm not sure all the details, gentlemen, but that's the route he's going to take, Daniel Fairbrother of Hertfordshire. My brother has competed in those deals where you lift the Atlas stones, I believe is what they call them. It's just a big, fat, circular stuff. And it's just, and he tears all the skin off of his forearms and his thighs because, you pick it up and you kind of rest it on your thighs and then diarrhea comes running down your leg and you lift.
That sounds awful.
I don't know what he's doing. Yeah, I don't get it. All right, here's the deal, Randy Shaver. It took a little while for the fellas to get cooking, but eventually the Timberwolves quite handily beat the Dallas Mavericks last night.
As they should.
Wasn't the prettiest game you'll ever see, except for what Carl put together. Carl was terrific.
Yes, he was. Certainly the third quarter, third quarter, fourth quarter, both dominating quarters by the Timberwolves. And you're right, Towns was
very efficient.
Was the player last night. I mean, this is a Dallas team without Doncic, without Irving. Their starting center was out. I mean, this was a team that, didn't look anything like what they normally do.
No.
But a year ago, 2 years ago, Wolves probably would have lost a game like this just because that's how they played. But not this year.
Yes.
It was a nice win last
The
night.
Mavericks were without overgrown 4-year-old Luka Doncic and wackadoodle former flat earther Kyrie Irving. I'm not sure what was going on with Edwards last night. He didn't contribute much, but I mean, I guess you can't be A1 from day one all the damn time. Rudy Gobert had 17.6 rebounds. Naz Reid was great off the bench. The bizarre stat of the night, back to Anthony Edwards. Rudy Gobert made more shots from the free throw line than Edwards did from the field.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Rudy was 7 of 12 from the free throw line. Edwards was 3 for 5.
Yeah.
The last time he was this uninvolved, they claimed he was sick. So I don't know I'm not terribly worried about it, but it was just odd seeing Anthony Edwards just kind of ho-hum his way through a ball game.
Maybe he was bugged a little bit by that fine that he got.
It was in his head.
The $40,000 fine for chirping at the refs. I don't know. You know what, though? I mean, as much as we are, see it as a mystery as to why he didn't play as well, here's another example of how good they are.
Yeah.
He doesn't play as well as he can, as he should, and they still win handily. So we've seen a couple of games like that where he's kind of disappeared and other players pick it up and take the game over and they win. So it's all a good sign. They're a very good basketball team. When they are focused, when they play the way they're capable of playing, they are really good. But that's going to be the real key as we continue to move forward, is how can they be consistent night in, night out, and be focused and play the way they're playing. So.
Jordan McLaughlin, T-Wolves point guard. Some are saying he tossed the assist of the year last night, a pass he threw between the legs of a defender while McLaughlin was falling out of bounds. They call this, in the business, they call it a nutmeg when you pass the ball between your opponent's legs.
How about the save from McLaughlin? The save. Milton getting the bucket. I want to see this J-Max save again, because this was a nutmeg off the save between the legs of Sean Holmes to Milton.
And gets an assist for it, I'm sure, too, right?
It was fun to watch. Should we have that up on our website?
Yeah, I think he just kind of threw it back in.
Well, yeah, we know that.
He kind of got lucky.
Well, of course he did, but we're just, trying to have some laughs over here. He's a fun player to watch.
He can be.
Things got pretty one-sided in the fourth quarter, so both coaches were able to throw the JV
Luke
guys
Garza
out there.
got out there.
Yeah. Well, I had something here or another on Luke Garza. Do we know who all's playing in the All-Star game? I don't really care. I mean,
the starters have been named today. The reserves will be named.
Mm-hmm. The reserves have not been named yet.
No. They will be named today.
Okay.
So there's a good chance, obviously, that that Anthony and probably Towns will make it. I don't think Gobert will make it.
I don't think so either.
But Anthony and Towns could make it.
Sure. Speaking of Luka Garza, he got on the court a little bit last night and hit a three-pointer, and the crowd went mental. Now, he will be heading out to that All-Star setup. He'll be playing in something called the Up Next game. So that's the younger guys, G League guys. Okay. That'll be cool. The G League guys are going to play some kind of tournament. He played in it last year, too, and he was the MVP of the whole schmear. But check this out. You'll like this. The 2024, how did I say it? Up Next game at the NBA All-Star setup. What is that, a week away?
Not sure.
Okay. Each team will have there'll be a pile of teams. Each team will have its own influencer general manager.
Oh boy.
Oh, God.
What are the qualifications for that?
Well, you have to be an influencer.
Yeah.
That's
it. All right.
The influencer, whoever that is, and that is such an annoying term. I'm an influencer. You have to say it that way, I think, too.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm an influencer.
Right.
The All-Star Game's on February 18th, just for the record.
So it is a week or two away.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just looking. The Wolves have had multiple All-Stars, it looks like 3 times in their history.
Okay.
Jimmy Butler and Carl in 2017, 2018.
All right.
Sam Cassell and KG.
Word.
In 2003, 2004.
Randy Brewer and Sam Mitchell? No, go ahead.
No, nice try, though.
Give me the year.
1996, 97.
Oh, you probably had to go Steph and KG.
Nope, you got one right.
KG and Tom Gugliotta.
Yes,
All right.
Steph never made it.
KG and Tom Gugliotta.
Yep.
There you go.
So I take that back. Also 2001, Garnett and Zerbiak. So they've had multiple All-Stars a few times.
All right, we got to watch this Up Next game again because every team will have its own influencer general manager who will draft the team, customize the team's jersey, which I bet will be just repulsive.
Yeah.
And then they'll stream the game on their own digital platform.
gonna lose followers.
That just sounds awful. And each team will be coached by a member of the hit cable television show Keeping Up with the Kardashians. I'm kidding. The coaches will be from the NBA G League. Timberwolves are looking to maybe make a trade. Randy Shaver.
Yeah. Get an offensive player.
Yeah.
Another scorer.
And the word is it will be, well, this is the word, the rumor is that they're looking into Atlanta Hawks guard Bogdan Bogdanović.
He's a good player.
Yeah, he is.
He's a good player. He's he can play, I think, guard and small forward. I mean, he's versatile. Yeah.
He can shoot the three.
I think Atlanta's going to unload quite a bit because they just
it didn't work.
Their season has just kind of gone in the crapper.
It didn't work.
Yeah.
The Wolves would consider, according to the rumor, moving Kyle Anderson.
Yeah.
Who's on an expiring contract. I love Kyle Anderson, but I get it.
Yeah, he just hasn't done a lot this year off the bench for them,
Mhm.
like he did a year ago.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, a year ago he was
had a great year.
indispensable. Yeah, he was.
He was the MVP of the ball club last year. He really
Could
was.
have been. Yeah.
The all-around MVP of the ball club last year. All right.
I mean, I think you're going to see Atlanta probably trade DeJounte Murray, and I can see them trading Bogdanović too.
Oh, this is great. Someone texted in about that next up G League NBA All-Star game. We mentioned that an influencer will be coaching a team. A listener is guessing that one of the influencers will be Patrick Mahomes' younger brother.
Oh, man.
Lord. No.
Or even his wife.
Oh,
pick one.
That'd be great. Twitter data has shown us something that we already know. The Kansas City Chiefs are now the most hated NFL ball club.
Not surprising.
They analyzed all that, keywords on Twitter. Yes. I hate this. I hate that. I hate the Vikings. And the Chiefs beat out the Dallas Cowboys as the most hated club in the NFL.
Well, Dallas is not there only because they don't win the big game to get them to the Super Bowl anymore.
They don't bother anybody like they used to because they usually exit pretty early.
Yeah. So
Vikings were, of course, in the middle because no one really cares.
Right below the Bills, Dana.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Speaking of Patrick Mahomes, a picture of Patrick shirtless in the locker room after the AFC title game caught the attention of social media dorks. And they say he's got what, oh, God, again with this. They say he's got what everyone calls these days a dad bod.
Is that still hot? Everybody loved the dad bod for a while there.
I think so.
I have to say that when I covered sports back in the day, with those Twins teams from the 90s, 2000s, every pitcher had a dad bod.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't recall anybody in that locker room really looking like they were physically fit.
It was a different mindset. Different mindset. And still, I think in a big league locker room, you
I
don't
still think that way. Yeah, I don't think that lifting weights and being physically cut is not a part of baseball.
Right. I mean, remember when Marty Cordova checked in to spring? Marty Cordova, who was I think he was coming off Rookie of the Year season.
Yes.
95, I think.
Yes.
Marty Cordova was Rookie of the Year for the Twins. I think I have the right year. Left fielder. He came to spring training the next season, and he looked like a damn WWF wrestler. And it just bulking up like that, I've always heard, just doesn't pay off so well for a lot of baseball players because it's so much about flexibility and maneuverability and things like that.
Now, that changed a little bit, like Lance Parrish, the former Tigers catcher, was really big into lifting weights. And there were a couple of other guys, too, that...
It worked for some, but not for many. Not for many.
Yeah.
CC Sabathia was pretty cut for a while.
Wilbur Wood.
Good Lord. Remember Brady Anderson? Was that his name for the Baltimore Orioles?
Baltimore.
That guy could rake for a couple of years.
Yes.
He did what?
He raked. Hit a lot of home runs.
Oh, I thought,
I thought so too.
I got very uncomfortable for a second.
Same here. Just for a couple of years.
well, then he was one of those big targets for anti-steroid people. You know, he was gassing like a sumbitch, but...
I think whatever Patrick Mahomes, I don't like the guy, but I wouldn't consider what he's got going on to be a dad bod at all. He's got a tiny little pouch, but mostly dad bods are a lot about the love handles on the side. It doesn't look like this man's got a single love handle. And I bet when he wakes up in the morning, it's probably way different than when, he's been playing football all day and drinking water all day and all that, you get bloated.
Tom Brady gets crap for that too, right? People make fun of his body. Like, was it his combine photo with the shirt off? Is that the one everyone brings up every year?
This is like a droopy dude. Standing there in his boxers with this dumb look on his face.
I think it's so weird that they do that.
I remember seeing Dante Culpepper in person at training camp thinking, that guy's a professional athlete. Remember, Nick? He could barely walk straight.
Yeah.
He seemed so discombobulated.
They hadn't even had a real practice yet, and he looked injured.
Yeah.
The way he walked across the street. Yeah, he was very, very pigeon-toed.
Yeah.
But we could go up and down on this. Kirby Puckett.
Definitely.
Yeah, but when Kirby was playing, he was pretty built.
I mean, he was built as well as his frame allowed him to
That's
be.
correct.
You know?
He was. I mean, Herbeck the same way. They were built.
There were guys who just had frames that didn't allow much improvement. You know?
Text here says Barry Bonds, he worked really hard to naturally bulk up in his day.
Do you care to go through okay, we're trying to find a reason to watch the Super Bowl. Yesterday or the day before we talked about maybe we'll try the Nickelodeon vibe.
Sure.
This and that. I mentioned right from the get-go. A good idea might just be get so damn drunk you don't remember a thing. You don't even know who you're watching on television. So what do you think? Should we wait a week, or do you want to jump right into a Super Bowl drinking game?
Oh, let's wait a week.
All right.
Because I'll forget about the drinking game by the time the game
With all the drinking you'll do.
That's right. Right.
Does this matter at all to you? The Budweiser Clydesdales are returning to the Super Bowl commercial lineup. They had those adorable ads a few years ago where the Clydesdale makes friends with a yellow lab, and everyone was falling down and touching themselves over that.
I love that.
Yeah, I like the Clydesdales.
They're cool.
I don't know. Do you think Super Bowl ads are that big a deal anymore?
I couldn't possibly care less, and I never could.
I think part of it is that they release them ahead of time now.
Bingo.
I mean, I was just looking today at a whole list. You can watch all of them.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
That's kind of a
the
bummer.
element of surprise is kind of gone now.
Couldn't possibly care less about Super Bowl ads.
Maybe they do that because they know a lot of people. Maybe they don't feel like people will be tuning in or will be paying attention.
Even like, you'd hear stories about people saying, I'm just watching for the commercials or the halftime show. But now it's all out there already.
I hear you. That makes a difference, sure. And actually, they do have. So I think what they're doing here is just repeating one of these old Clydesdale ads from a few years ago. And I have the plot, if you want it real quick. A snowstorm threatens to derail a delivery of Budweiser to a small-town bar.
Oh, no.
But a team of Clydesdales and a Labrador Retriever team up to help Budweiser make the delivery.
Why's the lab involved?
Why are you talking like that?
Things move a little slower around here.
Why are you talking like that?
Other ads that have been released early. This one has me pissed off. A Kawasaki ad shows people riding in one of their side-by-side off-road vehicles, and they're growing mullets because the vehicle is business in the front and party in the back.
I think that's the one with John Cena in it.
Well, then, I hate him even more than I did yesterday.
Okay, I just watched the new Clydesdales ad, or the remake or whatever it is.
New. Oh, wait a minute. It's a remake or it's new?
Whatever. Exactly what you described. It doesn't really say on
so
here.
I think that's a rerun. They're just bringing it back to help people feel better about their lives, I think.
It is quite adorable, though.
Well, sure.
They're onto something. Throwing a lab in there. That'll get me every time.
Speaking of John,
Stone Cold Steve Austin. I'm sorry, that's who's in the Kawasaki commercial.
Oh, nice.
Well, I'm upset with him. Speaking of wrestling, it was 25 Super Bowls ago. God, I'll never forget this.
Yes.
When WWE decided to put on a match during Super Bowl halftime to try to get folks to change the channel, and it worked.
It did.
This was a Super Bowl the Vikings could have played in. This was 98, was it not? Or 99? Anyway, 25 years ago. Someone tell me what year it was 25 years ago.
99?
99.
I thought that was when they got... Anyway, halftime heat, they called it. And this was the horribly, horribly violent I Quit match between Mankind and The Rock. And it was... I mean, I remember like it was yesterday sitting on my couch with my buddies watching that, and every blow that The Rock gave Mankind over the top of his head with that folding chair, we went, oh! oh my God, because it was so bloody. And this was before they mandated that guys kind of protect themselves from the chair shots by putting their hands up on their foreheads. This was full on, no holding back. Hit me with that chair as hard as you effing can. And that match became part of the Mick Foley documentary that was released shortly thereafter, where his wife and kids walked out of the arena because they thought they were going to watch Mick die that night. I'll never forget that. That was incredible.
This Kawasaki commercial is making more sense. So they drive by like a bald eagle, a turtle, a bear, and then they grow mullets. And then you see at the end, they drive by Stone Cold Steve Austin, and then he grows a mullet.
I like turtles.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I think I got more confused.
God bless you, Wapple, but that didn't help at all. I'm just as aggravated as I was 5 minutes ago.
It was kind of funny watching the bald eagle grow a mullet, though.
Yeah,
I must say.
Randy, word is the Minnesota Vikings purple people eaters of the damn 1970s are going to be the focus of a new documentary. Or is this old news to a guy like you?
I have not heard this.
Production is wrapped on this movie, which comes from somebody called Winter State Entertainment.
Okay, good.
The folks who also made a feature on Jim Cott.
Oh, fun.
A program called Kitty to Cooperstown. Okay? So they must be Minnesota people.
Yeah.
But they go ahead and talk to Carl Eller and Gary Larson and Jim Marshall and Alan Page. Jared Allen and Ahmad Rashad are also interviewed. Here's a quote from Carl Eller about the documentary. He says, "We are the only remaining living front four in the era of great defensive lines."
Yeah, that's
and
true.
it will be truly special for the viewer to see what made us the players we were.
Yeah.
I will cry my eyes out while watching this.
It was my great honor to do a story on those guys last November. All four of those guys, obviously I don't know Larson as well, but man, to sit down and interview Jim Marshall, it gives me, I got chills right now. Just even saying that and remembering sitting there and talking with Jim. It's just, there's just something really special about those guys and what they did and who they were and what they represented and how they played the game. And it's just a different time, right? It's just, very special.
And, those other great, in the 70s, that was the main event. These big, bad defensive lines. The Purple People Eaters. The
Fearsome Foursome.
The Fearsome Foursome from the Los Angeles Rams. The Iron Curtain.
Yep, the Steelers.
From the Pittsburgh Steelers. And, speaking of the Fearsome Foursome, Merlin Olsen is dead, is he not?
He is.
Deacon Jones is dead.
He's gone, yes. Rosie Greer, I think, is gone from that front line, too.
Joe Green, L.C. Greenwood, those guys still around?
Joe Green is, I believe.
Okay. That'll be really special.
Yeah.
And by the way, I guess I was mistaken about this halftime heat thing. The match that they did for Super Bowl halftime was an empty arena.
Yep.
But the Mankind did still take a terrible beating with the chair. Right?
It was, they were all sorts of props because they were all over the backstage room. I remember they were like rolling kegs at each other. A forklift got involved at one point.
Yes.
I think Mick Foley ended up pinning the Rock with a forklift.
The match where Foley's family ran out of the joint, that obviously was not an empty arena. They were two separate. I apologize. I get excited, and I forgot which match it was where Foley almost died, because almost every other one of his matches seemed to be that situation. All right, what else is going on around here? The Seattle Seahawks hired a new coach. Who gives a rat's ass?
Young guy. They cut their coaching age in half.
Well, he's 36. This new guy, McDonald is
Pete
his
Carroll
name.
was
Michael
72.
McDonald.
Oh.
Pete Carroll was what?
72.
Jesus Christ.
Michael McDonald. Did he bring the rest of the Doobie Brothers with him?
I had a great time watching Joe Flacco do his thing this year for the Cleveland Browns. His younger brother, his name is Tom Flacco. I don't know how. I mean, Joe Flacco's like 53 years old. So how old is his younger brother?
Oh, he's only 40.
His brother looks pretty young.
Does he? He's got a younger brother named Tom. Tom is going to start up in the UFL, the new joint league created by the merger of the USFL and the XFL.
Oh, Tom's 29. He does not look 29.
What the hell is he doing? He's so much younger than Joe.
He looks even younger.
Yeah, Flacco does.
I wonder what one was an accident.
Well, wouldn't you assume the youngest one is the...
No, I'd assume the older one, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
How could you
because
ever
that's
assume
the oopsie, and then once you're like established and you're like, all right, now like everything's good in life, let's try to have a baby.
In 10 years?
Yeah.
There's two types of oopsies. Really, honestly. I mean, I grew up with a kid who was like 18 years younger than his next sibling. That was a friggin' oopsie, I'll tell you. Oh, God, it was really crazy. By the time we were 14, his sisters would stop by, and we were like, God dang, they're 50. You know what I mean? Anyway, Tom Flacco is going to be playing quarterback for the San Antonio Brahmas of the UFL. And they start up in a month and a half. Something like that. March sometime. I'll get a look at Tom Flacco. Real quick with some baseball stuff. I got some baseball stuff.
Love hot stove stuff.
Well, this isn't anything that's not really. It's not about players going anywheres or deals. And if you got some hot stove stuff, dump it on me.
I don't today. There's really nothing today. We're still waiting on some bigger free agent names, but yeah, nothing's out there today.
We were talking about the KG thing a few days ago about how there's rumors going around that maybe Kevin Garnett, once Alex Rodriguez and that other rich dude, Mark Lore, that maybe Kevin Garnett becomes part of the ownership, and that would be glorious. Right. Cal Ripken Jr. is part of the new Baltimore Orioles ownership group.
He is. Yeah.
One of the greatest to ever play the game.
Grant Hill is also part of that ownership group, too.
Oh, Grant! Sip, pop, poke, pop, Grant! Grant Hill's in on that, too, huh?
He is, yeah.
He's got a few bucks in his pocket.
Yeah, the guy that bought the team, though, is so incredibly wealthy that I'm not sure how much those other folks contributed as far as money. I don't think that the guy who bought the team really needed their financial help.
Is that the guy named John Angelos?
No, David Rubenstein is the guy who bought the team. The Angelos family is the one that owns the team, and they're actually still going to be part of the ownership group. So they only sold a majority of the shares.
Isn't that John Angelos kind of a squirrely sumbitch? Isn't he the guy that? Isn't he the guy that cracked down on that announcer for just stating simple facts?
Yeah.
Remember that from this past baseball
right.
season?
Yep.
The lead announcer or the pregame show host or whatever for the Baltimore Orioles said, the Orioles kind of suck in Tampa Bay, and they suspended him for that.
Right.
Well, Cal Ripken, he's not going to put up with that kind of crap. He seems like.
Well, it's yet to be determined what Ripken's role will be, if any, with the organization, but at least he is part of the ownership group.
I'm just saying he's not going to let those fat cats push him around.
Probably not. I mean, he's a legend in Baltimore.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So
here's a listener speaking of oopsies. He says, I have both types of oopsies. My firstborn was before I graduated high school, and my latest was at the ripe age of 46.
Oh, my. That's like the opposite ends of the scale, right?
Woo-wee. Wow. Man.
I dated a girl once. We were in our mid-20s, and she had a brother that was like 6, clearly an oopsie baby. And she was always mad because their parents had clearly just checked out at that point. They let that kid do whatever he wanted.
Yeah. Sure.
They did not
exhausted.
care. Exactly. Yeah, sure. Go run outside. Go eat sugar. I don't care.
Go play in the street.
Yeah, exactly.
Man. And, real quick, we missed this a couple days ago because we were busy. Jimmy Williams died, former big league manager Jimmy Williams. Had his greatest success, I would say, with the Toronto Blue Jays in the mid to late 80s. And, man, again, you're going to say, here we go, Shaver and Nick with the Wayback Machine. But if you think back to that 1987 year where the Twins won the World Series and had to beat a very, very good they had to beat a very, very good Detroit Tigers team to get to the World Series. When that season was wrapping up, did the Tigers and Blue Jays, did they play a one-game playoff for that division? Or at least it came down to the very last day. The Blue Jays were very close to winning the American League East that year and facing the Twins in the ALCS in '87. And where I'm going with this is, as a fan, I feared the Blue Jays more than I even feared the Tigers that year. Well, Tony Fernandez and Kelly Gruber, George Bell, Jesse Barfield, Fred McGriff, Lloyd Mosby, they had a powerful friggin' lineup.
Yeah,
Luckily, the Twins didn't have to face them.
Yeah, the Blue Jays ended up winning back-to-back titles, right? In 92, 93?
Yeah,
91, 93,
the only guy that was left from the 87 roster, I think, was Fred McGriff. You know what I mean?
Right.
But you're right. They won back-to-back World Series in the early 90s.
And Morris and Molitor and Winfield were all parts of those teams that won World Series.
In '87, the Blue Jays finished 2 games behind the Tigers.
I know it came down to the last, oh boy. Real quick now, we'll close out with some hockey. I was going to run this by Marcus Foligno yesterday, but I didn't think he'd want to get involved. A topless joint called Fillmore's Gentlemen's Club in Toronto is offering a free lap dance to any NHL All-Star when they come into town here in the next couple days.
Get them in for one, and then they'll pay for 9 more.
Did you not want to bring it up because of the lap dance or the fact he's not an All-Star?
The lap dance.
Okay.
I don't think... No one needs to tell Marcus Foligno that he's right where he should be at this time of year. You know what I mean? Yeah. He knows that. He knows that. He's even said it on the air. He's like, look, But anyway, free lap dances for the boys. And damn, a minor league hockey game went a little sideways a night or two ago. I don't know how many of you saw this video.
It's on 93x.com.
There was rough. Something else we meant to talk about a day or two ago, but things get busy around here. There was a pileup of players, your typical scrap. Handful of guys got involved. The goalie got involved. And somebody, an opposite player, of course, not someone from the stands, an opposite player choked a goalie unconscious on the ice.
Oh, my gosh.
Folks that were there said it was like a UFC-quality guillotine-style stranglehold, and the goalie's lights went out. Now, I watched the video, and it was a little freaky, mainly because the kid who did the choking had zero remorse.
Absolutely none at all.
He held it for... It was obvious the guy was blacked out, and he kept holding him there.
Yes.
I mean, that could have done some real damage.
And once the goalie fell unconscious onto the ice, this guy had zero remorse. He just moved on and started challenging others to a fight.
Well, his team, they called it a severe injury. So I don't know, how bad it got, but... It looked really bad.
Wow.
The dude who did the choking, Josh, he must have known what he had done.
Well, yeah, because the dude was dead weight. He was not moving. He stopped moving for a while.
That's gross.
It appeared that he just didn't care.
That guy should be suspended forever.
Well, he's going to face something or another.
Yeah.
The kid who did the choking.
Gross.
He should face real charges for that kind of stuff.
It's kind of tough to watch.
Yeah.
The kid who did the choking is named Grishin. I don't have the first name. I don't know. Grishin.
Ethan.
Ethan Grishin?
Yeah.
He's
or
the
Ethan,
kid.
I think.
Yeah. Ethan?
It's EITHAN or I'm not
That's
sure.
got to be Ethan, and the parents just got creative with the.
Could be.
But anyway, they are suspending him. This will be his 3rd suspension of the season, so he's a moron. But I don't know if it's been announced yet. They haven't announced the length of the suspension just yet, unless I missed something. But it was kind of disturbing.
Yeah,
it is very disturbing, especially if you watch it knowing what's actually happening. Mm-hmm. Right? I mean, if you watched it and didn't know that the guy had blacked out or whatever, maybe you don't, because there's a lot going on. It's not just that scuffle. There's a couple of other scuffles that are happening at the same time. But when you ask us to focus in on that part of it, yeah, that's pretty disturbing.
I looked it up, and there's criminal charges that they're considering against him.
There should be.
Good.
Absolutely.
It's just, it's sad seeing the goalie. He's trying to push him off of him. He's not even trying to fight him back.
Fighting.
He's just like, hey, dude, I need to breathe.
It's pretty obvious that this is what this guy does. If he's been suspended already a couple of times for things, it's not because the guy's a great hockey player. It's because he's a goon.
Everybody runs hot. Everybody loses their cool once in a while, but he had every opportunity to let this goalie go. He knew he had this kid, right? He had every opportunity, and he just kept squeezing until that sumbitch hit the ice, and for the third time. What disturbed me most is that he just skated away. Like, okay, one down, 15 to go.
Yeah, that's exactly the attitude he seems to have.
Watching that is why I mind myself when I'm around Josh.
Oh, I like to choke, baby.
I know.
The dude, he knows martial arts.
Yeah, I just don't go there.
He knows martial arts.
You just got to know better.
Oh, wow. People are texting in. He's the Draymond Green of the NHL.
Well, he didn't try to
not
kick
the
it.
NHL. It was minor league stuff. And that might have been what had the guy so pissed off. Here I am still in the friggin',
Yes.
you know?
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, no one cares about me. I'm not going to make it. I might as well choke some fools out.
Yeah, it even
What a
looks
loser.
like he's an alternate captain for the team, too.
What?
Yeah.
You sure the A doesn't stand for something else?
No one else on the team has one on there.
Alternate captain is your guy that's been suspended multiple times this year?
Yeah, looks like it.
Not a good look.
Maybe he's the guy that buys the beer every night or something. You know, that's why they made him alternate captain.
You have nothing else going for you. Here's alternate captain.
There you go, Randy Shaver. All right. I've covered every damn thing that I
It's already February 1st.
had in mind.
I know.
Oh, January was the longest month ever, and then I realized
Really?
someone told me it was because I didn't fact check this, but that there was 5 Mondays in last month.
Oh.
So yeah, that'll do it.
That made a difference? Mm-hmm. I'll choke you out for saying something like that.
Yeah, he will.
Yeah, be careful. Mind yourself.
Josh got a short fuse.
I was saying earlier, Randy Shaver, it's pretty glorious to sit here and say that it's 8:16 in the morning, February 1st, and it's 33 stinking degrees.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people that are just dying because the weather is what it's been. You know, they make a living off snow and cold and things like that. And I feel for those people for sure. But I'm one of those guys that if this was our winter, I would have no problem with it. Just no problem.
Yeah, me neither.
And it's going to be in the 40s all next week. And, you know, by the time you get to mid-February, you're already thinking about March. Baseball, we're talking spring training. Your mind is already going someplace warm anyway.
Yep.
So this winter has been amazing, you know, in so many different ways.
The only time I enjoy really, really, really brutal cold weather, or I should say the only reason why I enjoy really, really brutal cold weather, is I know when we pull into this parking lot in the morning, I'm not going to get knifed by a crackhead.
Yeah,
That's true.
the cold keeps them away.
When the weather starts to warm this morning, there was 12 people in the parking lot for no reason.
Oh, is it really? Wow.
Yes, and I think they're smoking crack rocks. When the weather warms up, I go, oh no, who's going to be in the parking lot this morning? But when
Do you not have security?
No.
No, well, we have like doors that are extra locked, and they take like a fob to get in. But
Well, extra lock, but they don't close very well at
yeah,
times.
that's actually I'm pretty excited about it warming up because when it gets cold, one of the door in the front, one of the locked doors doesn't ever shut.
Doesn't latch.
And so I'm always afraid I'm going to walk into the lobby and someone's going to be hiding in the shadows ready
What's
to kill me.
the matter with you guys? Yes, we have security. Yes, we do. It's a SWAT team, for God's sake.
Just a bunch of 6'8", 300-pound men.
They all know jujitsu.
They're Navy SEALs, for God's sake. All right, we got to get going, Randy. We'll have a few laughs tomorrow for you, huh?
Sounds good.
All right, we'll talk to you later. And we will return here in a minute on the Half-Assed Morning Show.
Half-Assed Morning Show.
They're loud, they lose control, they do their little circus act, they're a nuisance.
93X.
Our experienced and certified technicians at Standard Heating have been trusted to keep our fellow Minnesotans comfortable and confident for over 90 years. We're ready to do the same for you, providing comfort you deserve since 1930.
Standard Heating is having their 94-year celebration. They have special offers just for you this February. Whether you need a new furnace or a tune-up, they have something special for everyone. Visit standardheating.com to save today.
Hey, it's Rich Eisen here. Join me and my compadre, Chris Brockman, every Monday on the Overreaction Monday podcast as we dive into the latest headlines across the NFL playoffs. Are you ready, Chris Brockman?
Just as handsome as ever, buddy.
I appreciate you saying that, and I wish I could say the same to you.
Come on.
There is a ton to overreact to, as now every other team that didn't make the playoffs, they're already looking forward to next year.
Yep.
Come react or overreact with us leading up to the big game. Overreaction Monday, wherever you listen.
You're listening to the radio. The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
Here we go.
Gross.
Here is the deal. It's Thursday. It's 8:26. You're a great crowd. And we thank you very much for listening to us here on the 93X Half-Assed Morning Show. I got a question for everyone and all of y'all. Not just the 5-6 of us sitting in here, but our listening audience. Feel free to play along. Be honest. And I'm not looking for, masturbation jokes here. And then let's move past that for now. Is there anything out of the ordinary that you do when you're all alone at home and nobody's looking? Anything out of the ordinary that you do when you're all alone at home and nobody's looking?
Man. I guess probably, I would say probably anything surrounding like my dogs, the way I talk to them like they're human beings, or like I'll always be like singing while I'm doing stuff. Like,
right.
Gonna go to the microwave, open up the microwave, and then I'll like point to my dog and be like, take it away, widow. She just stares at me.
She doesn't know the next line.
No.
To the song about going to the microwave. Yes, singing to your pets.
I do something similar, Ashley. When I'm playing video games by myself, sometimes I'll do color commentary as I'm playing, and I do it in like a British accent for some reason. Like, you cannot let Wessel get the blue shell. He's deadly with that.
I love that.
You're all by yourself when you're doing this.
That's adorable.
You got a soccer commentator doing your video
of course.
games.
It's a soccer.
I'm trying to think of something I do. I can't think of one necessarily by myself. It's not too often that I am by myself, but...
I didn't even think about that, for God's sake. I mean, sometimes when you tell us how long it's been since you've been all alone in your home, it makes me very sad. It makes me very sad.
I do like to, with my youngest, narrate what he's up to. Kind of like what Ashley said, just little things. Walking over to the counter, and here he is sitting down to do some homework. Oh, he's distracted by the TV again. I'll do that kind of thing to him. But I also do it in my head.
Trying to get him to snap,
yeah,
maybe.
Usually, yeah. Most days he'll go along with it.
In your head, you do something?
But I also do it in my head sometimes so I can give him a little bit of a break. Like I'm still doing it.
Okay, you're still doing the
like if I could put some big reverb on my voice, it'd be like you could hear what's in my head. I'll do the play-by-play.
Go ahead and text us here, 651-989-9393.
I smell things.
You smell things?
Yeah. Maybe I'll go, what's going on in my belly button, I wonder. That kind of stuff.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That kind of thing? Like you'll stick a finger somewhere and smell it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll do that a lot of the times.
Oh, God, that's disgusting.
I know, gross, right? Here he is, grossing out the audience.
I'll be like, I wonder what that kind of thing looks like, smells like. So then I'll go over there and kind of either smell it, touch it.
Wait a minute. So Josh is talking about putting fingers in orifices and taking a whiff to find out how fresh he is or not. You're talking about you'll walk over to a random item in the kitchen and smell it?
Yes.
Really?
That's so cute, Mama. What?
Yep.
Like
I just get curious. I'm like, huh.
Like, for example, like a sponge?
Give us an example. Are you making this up?
No, I can't. Because this whole time we were talking about it, I was trying to explain in my head how I could bring this up. I can't really think of an example.
Okay, well, there's a pen on the counter. Do you pick up the pen and smell it?
No, it'll be more like something that looks weird. Like, okay, that shouldn't be there. I wonder what that is. And then I'll go over there, look at it, smell it. Figure out what it is. Yeah.
Kind of like how a dog is when they find something they're not so sure about.
Yeah.
Tell us via text, is there something out of the ordinary that you do when you're all alone and nobody's looking?
Well, that looks like a stapler, but I got to smell it to make sure.
You really got to smell it to make sure it's a stapler.
Smells like a stapler. Checks out.
I can't say that I do anything out of the ordinary when I'm all alone and nobody's looking.
Oh, I can tell you a few things that I bet you do when I don't think you realize you do.
Oh, go ahead. I'd love to hear it.
So like in the mornings when we're sitting, it's very quiet, when we're getting ready for the show. You do what we used to call at home magic fingers, where you kind of wiggle your fingers when you're looking for something.
You do.
That is wonderful. I'm so glad you brought that up.
And I'm assuming that's something you just do, right? It's not just here.
Okay, that's perfect. I was sitting here thinking, God, I can't contribute to this at all. But you're right. If you ever see me in the building here, okay, I now that you bring it up, I do also do this at home. If I'm in front of my computer, here at work or at home, show prepping, if I'm trying to remember something what website I wanted to go to, what task I wanted to tackle first. While I'm trying to remember, I raise my hands up, like, say, I'm about to deliver a high 10 to you, if you're following what I'm saying, right? Mm-hmm. And I wiggle my fingers. I raise my hands up, like palms up, palms out, and I wiggle my fingers, and that's just like, I guess, a little...
it must stimulate your brain in some way.
What's the word I'm looking for? Like a little...
Crutch?
Crutch, thank you. That helps me think of what I was trying to do or what I was trying to...
I think it's cute. And like I said, we used to call it magic fingers when my big kids were little, because if you were hoping for something, right? Like, oh, I hope they get a touchdown here. Everybody do magic fingers, that kind of thing.
Also, my hearing is going, and you probably noticed this. This doesn't apply to the subject of being all alone at home and something, because, here I am in front of all you people, but maybe you've noticed this about me. My hearing is going, and I have a hard time when someone talks really quickly. It's difficult for me these days. Do you notice that a lot of times when some of you are talking, I'm staring at the ceiling?
Yes.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
For whatever reason, I think that helps me listen better and understand what people are saying to me. Especially fast talking, I'm having a hard time with.
Well,
Maybe less distractions if you look up.
I don't know. I don't know what
like
it is.
a sign of concentration? When you're trying to think of something, you kind of maybe look up one side or the other?
Probably it. That's probably it. Okay. But I don't know. I mean, aside from the wiggly fingers, I can tell you when I was a kid, absolutely, I did things when nobody was looking that were a little out of the ordinary. Probably things that every other little kid did. I'll give you 2 examples. I would go down into my folks' basement and play a game of football. Snap the ball to myself, and as I'm running around the corner, I would say, there he goes down the 35-yard line. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I play by play.
I did that in the yard.
Many little kids did.
Yourself a pass.
Oh, wobble
going down the sideline.
That's kind of sad.
It's kind of sad.
He's just all alone. Well, I'm thinking of Wapple out in his yard all alone.
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
I would watch the football games.
5 minutes ago,
halftime.
he's sniffing inanimate objects, and you called it cute. Now he's what?
Well, I think we're all picturing all the other neighbor kids in the next yard having fun together.
Yeah.
100%.
And Wapple's just alone in his.
The other thing I did as a kid was I would set up a full-length mirror. I would take off everything but my shorts, my drawers. I would tie shoelaces around my arms and grab a tennis racket and air guitar. I mean, the shoelaces around my arms were just to make me look, in my mind, like a rock star. And I would air guitar to Kiss in front of that mirror until I was exhausted.
That's great.
Until I was exhausted. And of course, lip sync but anyway. Things that you do when no one's looking that might be a little out of the ordinary. We asked you to text 651-989-9393. I'm excited to tackle those text messages. I wish I was better at doing it on the fly, but we'll have to give that some time.
Got a couple good ones here for you.
If you got them, dump them on me, Josh, but I can't follow them that quickly.
So dubbed Famous Mises, he said he's slightly OCD. Here's an example. When he gets out of the shower, he has to dry himself a certain way every time. And if he realizes he didn't, he starts all over and goes through that same routine.
Okay, so what is the definition of that? Is that OCD?
I would call, I'm no expert, but I would think that's OCD.
Yeah, that's...
Or compulsive, maybe. I guess I don't... Oh, no, that's what that is. That's what OCD is.
Yeah, I would say that's quite extreme. I've heard of this, isn't brand new to me. So if he did not follow his preferred order, he starts over again.
Yeah, he goes all the way back to the top.
Wow, and I know a thing or two about OCD. That's quite extreme.
So the C's compulsive. What does the D stand for? That was a dick joke.
And I couldn't come up with anything.
It's disorder.
A lot of folks play with their bodies. And again, this is...
I do that, yeah.
They poke at their fat.
I'll squeeze some skin. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's totally normal. A lot of folks, some of it is a little more weird than others. Some folks...
I'll rub my head.
I got a buddy who, when he's staring into the television, completely lost, he will pet one of his eyebrows very slowly, stroke one of his eyebrows.
That's comforting. Talking about touching bodies reminds me of something. I guess I'm sure other girls can relate. Is I like relax my body when I'm alone. For the most part, since I was like very young, without even noticing, I'm kind of always sucking in. I guess like I never really like relax my gut unless I'm like home alone. There's no one around. I'm like no one can see the weird angles. I'm just gonna.
So you just kind of check out. I'm not sure I understand what you're saying. Is it
just like to suck in to look thinner? You mean?
Yeah. It's just like habit. Like I'm doing it with right now without even noticing. I think I've just from the years and years of doing it, I've just trained myself to be able to do that.
Well,
but
you don't need to do that.
Just being able to scan the text messages coming in. There are a lot of singers when they're home alone and nobody's looking. They do a lot of singing. Women play with their boobs, not in a sexual way.
Oh, definitely. It's
No,
so
like
comfy.
not to check, not to be check to make sure everything's good, or just for the heck of it.
Just for the heck of it. You know how guys kind of like to put down like their hand on the front of their pants when they're chilling?
Yeah. Sure.
I like to sit there and just hold on to the boobs.
Sure. Oh, there are a couple other narrators out here. So Dana says he narrates his own video game performance. Sometimes Josh narrates his son's activities. There are other narrators out there who narrate what they're doing, narrate what others are doing. There's some nose pickers. That's not out of the ordinary. It's disgusting in my book. I can't. Yeah, you guys, I've told you before. I'd rather you come into my room and just cut a turd on the floor than have me watch you pick your nose. So I'm not going to call that out of the ordinary because there's a lot of you out there who have that bad habit.
This person says, I not only talk to myself when I'm alone, I also answer myself. I don't know if I've ever done that.
I do that too.
Sometimes my wife will say, you're talking to yourself. But I do, like, if I do something stupid, like I stub a toe or something, like, well, that was stupid. What's wrong with you? That kind of thing.
Very rarely, but I'd say maybe once or twice a year, I overhear you talking to yourself from across the soundboard there, Cubby.
Yeah, sometimes it's to help me remember what I need to do. So I'll say something like that.
There are other smellers amongst us when no one's looking, like Wapple smells inanimate objects. What did someone else contribute to the smelling conversation? I forgot.
Well, I did, yeah.
Oh, yeah, right. You'll finger your belly button.
Yes.
And, oh, God. There are some armpit smellers out there. There are dancers.
I've done that, sure.
Dancing by yourself when no one's looking?
Oh, yeah, sometimes.
Yeah, definitely.
I can't say that I've ever danced by myself when no one was.
I do sarcastically more than anything.
It's probably
I try and do bicycle kicks. You've seen me try that. It's painful now. Once in a while, I'll try and do a bicycle kick. Like when the song kicks in, like I'm David Lee Roth or something.
The only time I actually try when I'm dancing is probably when I'm by myself because I know no one's around to be like, wow, that's the best you can do.
Dude. Okay, now that, again, the texts are coming in fast and furious, but I'm having a little bit better luck here catching up with what our listeners are texting on what they do when they're home alone and nobody's looking. Zachary says, if I'm home alone, sometimes I'll give the house a good tactical sweep in case there's ever a hostage situation in my home.
That's pretty smart. I mentioned this not too long ago where I thought this was a sign of me going crazy is there was a period of, a couple weeks where I would drive with nothing on the radio, complete silence. And sometimes I'll just sit in my truck when I get home and do nothing.
I love doing that.
So I'm wondering if that means I'm losing my grip on reality.
Okay, going without the radio, not a regular thing for me, but every once in a while, yeah. Silence is great when you're driving. But you're telling me you pull in the driveway, Josh, you turn off the motor vehicle, and you'll just sit there and do absolutely nothing?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes I'll read something on the phone or watch a video, but there's other times I just kind of sit there.
Okay, reading a phone or looking at a video, that's one. But if you're just sitting there and doing absolutely nothing, if I see that from across the street, I'm gonna think that you are gonna enter that home and hurt somebody.
I would think you're going through something. Man, that guy's depressed.
Well, you'd know
because
because that's why you got kicked out of that daycare.
When I lived in Minneapolis, Josh, I would do that all the time, and like my neighbor's driveway was right next to me, and I'd be in there for like probably way too long. There's been times where I've been in my car for an hour.
Well, actually, there's been times where you've left, you said goodbye, I'm taking off for the day, and I've stayed and done some things, and I'll go out, and it'll be like 40 minutes later, and you're still seeing the front seat of your car.
Yeah,
the
I
first
don't
time it
know.
happened,
Well,
I thought you passed out or something.
Well, but what are you doing there?
I don't know, just chilling, thinking.
Now, come on.
Yeah.
You sit and do nothing but think for 40 minutes to an hour?
It's nice.
There was
it's
a time.
like meditation.
Do you remember, guys, there was a time we thought you were dead because of that? We were trying to get a hold of you. Like your phone was off and you had mentioned, oh, yeah, I was just sitting in my car for like an hour. That was a few years ago or a couple of years back where we were, I can't remember why, we were trying to get a hold of you and we thought, oh, you tweeted something disturbing.
Oh,
remember
did I?
Oh, yeah. It was like a very vague tweet about something, but I can't remember exactly what it was.
But we totally misunderstood it.
We did.
And we kind of panicked. And we're trying to get a hold of you. We couldn't get a hold of you. We're like, oh, no, what's going on?
Oh, no, she's so sad.
But
What's going on?
It was just you talking about sitting in your car or something.
Yeah, so like my neighbors would come out of their house, and I would like pick my phone up and pretend that I was on the phone in my car the whole time, so they didn't think I was a weirdo.
Titanium, by the way, a lot of people like to sit in silence. Titanium Rod in my pants, Jesus says he'll be by himself and do something dumb and then just yell out, idiot, like Napoleon Dynamite. I've done that for sure.
Now, I didn't expect this on the topic of what you do when you're home alone and nobody's looking. I didn't expect this. There have been a few people who have texted in, and they've pretty much said that they can't deal, that they shouldn't be left alone for too long because it just kind of plays with them a little bit mentally. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, I know someone like that.
Like, here's an individual who says, if I'm left alone for too long, I get so squirrely, I'll dye my hair.
Oh, really?
Wow.
Did you, I'd love it if you get back to us, and did you grow up maybe in a big family? Because I did, and there's always somebody there. And like if my wife goes out of town, which is very rare, you know, if the kids are gone, I do sometimes stand around going, well, what the hell should I do?
Yeah,
and I eat a meal over a sink or
I was
something.
going to just ask that. Weren't you eating a sandwich in your boxers above the sink?
That's not too uncommon, but I was, yes.
Yeah, your wife left and you didn't know what to do, so you just stood in front of the sink eating a sandwich.
I wasn't used to it, but I do like the silence sometimes. But yeah, I didn't know what to do. But I understand what that person's saying because I have a family member who's like that, where if they cannot be home alone, they have to be somewhere. And if they are home alone, they're on the phone constantly, FaceTiming or whatever it is.
Well,
yeah, I've got a brother like that.
Everybody's different. Here's one more. And we got to take a break. I see we're going to check the text, but just one more before we go to break. A listener says, I continue to fill out my hit list while applying lipstick really sloppily.
They want to glorify the fact that they're criminals. It's dumb. These guys are dumb. They deserve to be tossed under the jail just for being dumb.
The 93X Half-Ass Morning Show.
Oh, man, some of you out there have some great imaginations. You got to keep yourself occupied when you're all alone. We've been having a conversation here for a while about the out-of-the-ordinary things that you might find yourself doing when you're all alone at home and nobody's friggin' looking. You have some great imaginations out there. I sure wish I could have scrolled through a few more of your text messages, but again, and it's a wonderful thing, you've more or less crippled our text machine, and the sumbitch just locks up and starts smoking after a while. But here's a few. Here's a few of what was texted my way from our listening audience. What you folks do, maybe a little weird, when you're all alone at home and nobody's looking. Viking Grandpa Jesus, he pretends the remote control is a joystick for his fighter jet. Sweet. And he shoots down the enemy with sound effects.
Oh, yeah, that's even better.
That's pretty good, right?
Double D Jesus.
I learned from a kid at my junior high, yes.
Double D Jesus likes to win old arguments when she's at home alone.
Oh, yeah.
A few people text that in, they kind of go over and go, I should have said this, should have said this.
Sounds like a young man's game right here, Cubby. You tell me if you agree. One of our listeners likes to hop on one foot throughout the entire house when he's home alone. And I switch feet when I get to a new room.
That's so unique.
Every once in a while, I do play The Floor is Lava.
Oh, that's always a fun one.
Play that sometimes. This person talks to themselves in the third person sometimes because they need a professional opinion and don't always trust others. Oh, geez, Jesus said while he's driving alone in rush hour traffic, he sometimes says, of course, why wouldn't you be signaling, you dumb F? It's all about you, isn't it?
You're shouting at the...
On Monday, I had an experience kind of like that. A guy did a U-turn right in front of me, like to the point where I had to slam on my brakes. It was the oddest thing. You know, he's coming the opposite direction, does a U-turn. I don't know if he didn't see me or didn't care, and I just gave him like a polite honk, like, whoa, buddy, I'm here, right? That type of thing.
Yeah.
And he gave me the finger. And I said out loud, like, wait, I get the finger? I was just letting you know you almost got hit, man. That's it. I got the finger.
You know what one of our listeners does when they're all alone and nobody's looking? They pull out their eyelashes.
Oh.
Don't do that.
Wow, can't get.
And then rub them against their lips.
I bet that hurts.
Yeah, that doesn't sound fun at all.
Is that painful?
I haven't done it, but I would think that would hurt to pull them out.
Yeah.
No, it's not that bad.
Eyelash?
Yeah.
Really?
Well, your eyelids are such a sensitive little flap.
Pull one out
Did
real
it say
quick.
whether it was a girl or a guy?
It did not.
Because I feel
I think
maybe
it's a
women
guy.
are less because of like makeup that we use and like having to rub makeup off. I'm always pulling my eyelashes out by accident. So.
I think you're right, Josh. I think it is a dude. He
Yeah,
pulls
it's a
out
dude.
his eyelashes and then rubs them against his lips.
What's the lip
That's a two-parter right there. Rubbing it against your lips then, too.
Yeah, what's going on there?
Yeah. I'm more concerned about that than the pulling out of the eyelids.
Yeah, Wap, why don't you go smell an inanimate object? Can't say the word.
Go play football by yourself in the backyard.
Guy crosses the room to smell a calculator.
And he's weird. Driving instructor Jesus, when he's home alone, he smiles. That's the only time he smiles.
He's at peace.
Isn't that something? Some of you folks have it rough. Now, another one of our listeners, when they're all alone, they say, every time I go into the bathroom, I karate chop the shower curtain to take out the ninja assassin that's hiding in my tub.
That's smart.
You know, that's funny. Just stepped in human turds, Jesus said he realizes that he performs karate moves on random objects when he's alone. He said he's also been caught and feels extremely stupid.
Oh, yeah.
That's pretty good.
Here's a young lady in our listening audience who stands in front of a mirror, topless. She lifts her arms over her head to remember how perky her boobs used to be.
Oh, no.
That's actually a good tool to use if you lift your arms up and then watch and then let your arms fall. It's a good move to realize or to detect early breast cancer because one boob will like fall faster than the other possibly because of the weight difference. Yeah, I was taught that in school.
You ever had one just come right off?
Not yet.
Okay.
Not yet.
Lift your arms up and down.
Juggernaut Jesus said when he's alone sometimes, he looks in the corner and says, you know I can see you, right? Just in case there's an invisible threat.
Nice.
My
So
God.
smart.
Good strategy.
Another listener says, I play with the one whisker on my chin. And then I pluck it.
I hate finding a random whisker somewhere. I feel like such a fool.
I kind of love it because
Do you
I
really?
like being able to pluck. That's fun.
Native Restoration Jesus developed a habit as a kid of repeating a sentence he just said out loud to somebody else. He does it under his breath afterwards. And he said he thinks it started because he was nervous that what he had just said sounded stupid or didn't make sense. He said it stuck with me and I still do it to this day and it drives my wife crazy.
That's a hell of a deal. Hell of a deal.
College football official Jesus said, like you, Dana, he talks to himself when playing video games. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times he pretends he's a journalist interviewing the head coach, asking and answering questions.
I love that. I'm glad I'm not alone on that.
Dude.
Rubber Ducky Jesus is another one who will talk out loud some arguments he had previously and what a better response he could have had at that time.
Here's a dude when he sits on the throne. Well, at least he says when he was younger. When he sat down on the toilet, he'd grab the plunger. You know, the stick plunger? Put it next to him on the ground and act like he was a truck driver and the plunger was his gear shifter.
Oh, cool. That's cool.
That sounds fun, yeah.
He'll get a deuce out before you even know what happened.
I'm going to have to give that a try.
Mm-hmm. That does sound like fun. Yes, Wapple.
I was going to say, it's me.
Oh, Dana.
One thing I do when I'm alone and other people get annoyed if I try to do it in front of them is I watch sports on mute. Anytime I'm watching a game, I have it on mute.
Really?
I don't listen to the announcers.
Oh, I like the announcer.
Yeah, and especially my girlfriend, she's like, okay, this is awkward. Just put the sound on.
Yeah, I would not be able to handle that.
I mean, do you have something else on in the background, like music or whatever?
No, typically just watch it, especially if it's a game I'm emotionally invested in. I just like to have it be quiet.
Well, do you play video games at the time?
No, sometimes, but not usually. If it's a game I'm really interested in, then I have to have it on mute.
Because a friend of mine does that. He'll watch a game or watch a show, and the volume will be real low because he's playing his Switch or something.
Oh, yeah.
I like to do that. Yep.
Dana,
that's probably not good. That's probably like a sign of ADD, like having to have two different things going on at once.
Oh, I bet you're right.
Two TVs, a laptop, and a cell phone going at once. Yeah.
I suppose, Dana, do the demonic voices in your head handle the play-by-play for the most part?
The voices in my head comfort me, like Randy Orton's theme song.
How many people are in there, out of curiosity?
Not too many.
I wonder if we'd like any of them. Someday you got to bring them out.
Yeah, all right.
Thank you very much for all your text messages on the subject of what the hell we do when nobody's looking. It was a lot of fun. And again, some of you have a great imagination from the time you were kids all the way through today.
Yeah, this is fun. You know, if you were thinking, boy, something I do is a little weird. I mean, everybody kind of got together and said, not so weird. Except for Wapples. Everyone agreed Wapple, that was weird.
Yeah.
Wapple, here's something weird.
I'm the weird one.
Here's something weird I did at Wapple as a kid. I bet you did too. Did you ever like take your boombox and put WWE the music on and like pretend like you were Stone Cold coming out to the ring?
No, that's because I was the one that was pretending to be the wrestlers. So we would put wrestling tapes in the jukebox, and then we would go down to the trampoline. We'd pretend to be The Rock, all these different people. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Isn't that what Dana just said?
I think that's what Dana just said.
I thought he was talking about wrestling figures.
Oh, no. I was talking about like myself. Like I'd wear my Austin 316 t-shirt. The glass would shatter, and I'd come storming out of the door into the basement like I was just coming through to the ring. I did a lot of that when I was a kid.
Those are good times.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's fun.
Good times in simpler days.
Be safe, word Jesus. He's in Florida for a bachelor party weekend. He's a little worried he's going to end up on our stupid news next week.
That'd be fantastic.
Florida bachelor party weekend.
Yeah. Steel-Eyed Jesus messaged the Luther Kia Bloomington text line to shout out his buddy Muffin, who's moving to Iowa for a new job. Best of luck. Happy birthday to Supercomputer Jesus. Happy 26th to Makes Coils Jesus from your husband, Josh's bitch Jesus. Congratulations to hours older than Mall of America Jesus and his wife closing on their house this morning.
Really? Wait a minute. This guy's hours older than the Mall of America.
Yeah,
Boy, it's hard to believe how long's that joint been around now.
92, maybe?
Good Lord. That's crazy to me.
Pickleballing ironworker Jesus checking in from Kansas City this morning. And once again, best of luck and come back safe to the Minnesota Red Bulls about to head to Kuwait.
The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show. 93.
The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show podcast is sponsored by Standard Heating and Air Conditioning. New episodes drop each weekday. If your podcast platform has ratings, go ahead and give us 5 stars and maybe give our enemies 1. Thanks, and here's a word from our sponsor.
Standard Heating is having their 94-year celebration. They have special offers just for you this February. Whether you need a new furnace or a tune-up, they have something special for everyone. Visit standardheating.com to save today.